Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight, as it's the Merle Bird edition of the Halloween show with Merle. Notice how I did that? Merle Bird edition. Special guest telling his paranormal stories. You know him as, well, let me just show you. This guy, Christian McLeod, is going to join us as well. Sour face and all. And we're going to have a great night talking some spooky Halloween stories. But first, let's say hello to each and every one of you, including Eternity Eternal in the gold medal position, Tim Mothman in his goatee with a silver, Kitty Caddywhack with a bronze medal tonight. You guys promised you were going to Merle it up, so let's do it. There's some Merling right there. Bar Madison, how you doing? Race Fan, what's happening? Robert Lamoth, thanks for coming on in. As we continue on with our roll call here, Mel WD40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show, because you can't Merle unless you're nice and lubed. Yeah, and if you don't get enough lube, you end up looking like this. That's what happens when you don't get enough lube, right there. So thank you, Mel, for lubing us up tonight. All right, moving on here, we say hello to Moodens Mongol. Thank you. Kathy Evans is here. How you doing, Kathy? Paul Shreves is here. Paul Shreves will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Mickey G, how are you tonight? Frankie B, nice to see you. Jaquetta, thank you for coming on in. As we continue on with our roll call, the Dot is here. The period Dot is here for his monthly showing in our chat room. The Dot will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. All right, Jerence Carter, nice to see you. Neil, Necessary Dialogue, nice to have you along for the ride tonight. As we continue on with our roll call, there's Kurt M. and Hippie Deidre. Little Cam on YouTube, so excited for the tandem of Cryptid Guy and Merle that he literally did 27, check it out, 27 bench presses at 650 pounds. 27 of them, 650 pounds. Impressive tonight, little Cam. Good job. Eva, how are you? Undead Jed, thanks for coming on in. Planet X coming in from B. Arthur's Paranormal Portal. Welcome to SOR chat. How you doing? And let's see who else we have here. We have Sharon Sunshine. Welcome to SOR chat. Thank you for joining us. And where did it? Oh, damn it. I hate it when it does this. Jumps. All right. Now I got to scroll on up. All right. Now I got to restart here. Now where am I? All right. Here we go. Oh, there's Walter Kochabinski hanging on out. And who else do we have? Signs of Life. Even Merle's himself, people. He third person Merle's himself right there. It's good to have you here. All right. Thank you, Sharon, coming in from B. Arthur's Paranormal Portal, the golden one himself. And let's see. Paramarv is here. How you doing, Paramarv? Broken Shadow Feather, Aussie Boss Tiger. How you guys doing? And let's see here. Lisa Smith, how are you tonight? Benno, nice to see you. Emperor Penguin, thanks for coming on in. Good morning, Skip to Maloo. And Pony Pong, how you doing, my friend? Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We got Ghosts of the Great White North. Our main man, Merle, is here. We're also joined by Christian McLeod, the cryptid guy, hanging on out. Spooky stories all night long. That's what we are going to do. Bobbert, as we continue on our roll call here on our YouTube side. How you doing, Bobbert? Nice to see you. Matthew Goodka and Rose Desmarais merling it up. Very nice. Good job, Rose. And who else do we have? Blue Cruz, nice to see you. And I think we're caught up. We're caught up right there. Hey, I want to remind everybody the Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. And do me a favor, because it's that time of the night. I'm going to ask you to throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news while, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We're going to have a great show tonight. Our main man, Merle, from the Paranormal Road Trippers is here with special guest, Christian McLeod. We're going to get into some paranormal stories as we lead into Halloween. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will be here for another spooky story. Right after that, it'll be Katie Page with The Encounters. Oh, I love that segment. Follow that up. Weird News of the Week and the Dave 101. A busy hour 3, so let's get right to it. Every time around this time of the year, we have our friend, main man, paranormal man around here. We call him Merle. He's from the Paranormal Road Trippers, and he comes in and comes to talk everything supernatural, paranormal, and so much more. He's based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, and tonight we're going to get into some spooky stories, real encounters, stories we've heard over the years, and we are joined also by our special guest, the cryptid guy. We call him Christian McLeod around here. Merle, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Dave. How you doing? How you doing, Christian? Thanks for coming on, and let's tell some scary tales.
Thanks for having me, guys. As always, it's an honor.
It's always good to have some scary stories coming on in, because it's this time of the year where we're actually popular. We're not put in the back closet with all the other ragtag, people who are doing something weird and strange, but this is our month to shine. And Merle, you love a good paranormal story.
Love a good story. Got lots of stories we could talk about. Dave, you've got some stories. I want to hear Christian's stories. We're all gonna tell some stories tonight.
Merle, you've been investigating the paranormal for what, 20 years now almost?
Since about 97, 98. Yeah.
Okay, so you're old.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not as old as Christian, but
no.
nonetheless, you're old.
Yeah.
Is
He's
paranormal
still got all his hair,
investigation?
Dave. He's not young. He's young.
No,
I
that
know.
hair. Lots
I
of
know.
hair.
He dyes his hair, you know. But Merle, is paranormal investigation as scary as they make it out to be?
At first, I think I was known amongst my peers for tuck tail and running pretty quick. I find with the ghost hunt, there's a difference between ghost hunting and paranormal investigating. Ghost hunting can be scary because you're looking for that jump. You're looking for that. You're not so much looking for evidence. You're looking for a ghostly reaction from a spirit. Paranormal investigating, I guess. Well, that's terrifying too because you're not supposed to run when you're trying to investigate the paranormal, and you need to ride out the storm, so to speak. But when it gets real fast, and it's one of those things. I'm a guy that likes to control my surroundings a lot, like my immediate surroundings. And you can't do that with a spirit or a ghost because they will be like, nah, you wanted to talk. I'm here for you now. I can touch you on the arm. I can pull your hair. I've seen people get bit or scratched by a spirit. Yeah, dude, it gets extremely scary.
Christian, for you, how about you? Do you find that the paranormal, when you've investigated, can get scary, or is it just a matter of mind over matter?
Oh, it's not a mind over matter because when it's just like Merle said, when the paranormal's there or an entity shows up, you no longer matter because they're in the mind. They're there, and it can be terrifying. I can't tell you how many times, Merle. I gotta say this, Willie, Merle. I don't know you that well, but I kind of feel like you're a brother from another mother because it's the same thing. Sometimes you just got to pick up and relocate. It's not running. It's requalifying your circumstances to make a better outcome for one's person. But it can be terrifying because I was thinking back when Dave called me, and I'm trying to think of I've had like a lot of paranormal stuff happen on Halloween, doing the tours and things like that. But I've also had a lot of cryptid activity on Halloween where things just went south quick, and it's to the point where I mean I can remember running to my car as fast as I can, just leaving equipment and coming back for it the next day. That does happen, and I don't want to act like I'm a sissy or anything, but the truth of the matter is when you see some of this stuff coming at you, or you feel that cold rush. And for those of you in the paranormal, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Dave, I know you know what I'm talking about when you feel that cold wind, that like Area 23. I mean, that whole you just feel that it just the whole environment changes. That can be terrifying, and if you've never done it before, and even if you're still a rookie, that's still terrifying. So yeah, I mean that can be definitely a get out of dodge moment.
I
On that.
I think one of my first experiences of really feeling the terror. I say that it's because I wasn't used to it at the time yet. It's kind of like my first real hit of it. Was I was investigating a place called O'Keefe's Ranch, and it's in a town called Vernon in British Columbia. It's an old 1800s, 1900s cattle ranch. It was the biggest cattle ranch in all of British Columbia. They brought cows up from the States, from Montana. They just cattle rode them all the way up there and distributed them throughout the BC, essentially. And I was with an older team, and one of the guys that was there, he's like, Mike, since this is your, I was known as Mike back then, so for all y'all, Merle, can you go in and check the building out? So I'm like, sure, why not? And I go in this building. It picture like an old Victorian farmhouse, essentially. That's what we're looking at here. And I had the keys in my hand because the curator gave them to me. I unlock the door. I go in, and I had the keys in my hand. And then the door doesn't slam, but closes pretty quickly behind me. And I can feel my my heart rate go up a little bit from there, and that tingle down your spine, a little bit of a pucker. And the door locked. I had the keys in my hand. The door locked. I just heard a click, and then I'm like, oh no. I quit. And then I heard heavier footsteps coming from the upstairs. So there's an upstairs, and there's kind of like a wrapping staircase, wooden staircase down to the entrance. And I heard the footsteps coming down the hallway from upstairs, and then I heard them coming down the steps. Not slow, like more like a what the heck are you doing here? Who are you? Type thing. And as soon as it got close to me, the door just unlocked and it opened really slowly, just like in a horror movie. And I'm like, I'm out. I left the house, and the three guys I was with, they were kind of grinding my gears a bit because of me being a bit of a baby. But it was at that moment where it's like, oh my God, this stuff actually happens like they say it does, or like in the write-ups or in the posts you read about haunted locations. And we had a little more activity in that place. Like we heard some footsteps, we got some pretty neat EVPs, but that was intense and extremely personal. Like that guy, whomever the spirit was, and I think it was Mr. O'Keefe himself, because he's said to be haunting the house. Same with a little boy, but clearly there was a little boy stomping around. Came and had a "how you doing" chat with me, and it's one of the stories I think about quite often when people ask me about ghost stories, because it was that whole situation of you can't control your surroundings. Once it's go time, you're at a spirit's mercy.
You really are. People don't. They think that that's not an issue, but you can't control the surroundings when that happens. No. It's like you can leave if you can. Sometimes you can't leave. People think you're just, you got all these options. Sometimes you just have to stay there and deal with it, and they don't understand that because they've never been in that situation.
But I remember trying to unlock the door, like, because it was just like I could do with my hand on the inside, but it was one of the old style ones where you have to push it up instead of turn it, and then you would open the door, but it was jammed. It wouldn't open. But then by itself, just click, and then the door opened. Yeah.
That would scare me if all of a sudden something paranormal locked a door behind you, because I would be thinking something nefarious is about to happen at that moment. Like it's a spirit literally going to go Mike Tyson on me or bite my ear, or is it going to do something a little bit more drastic, invade my body so I become, inhabited with this spirit? I mean, that's a creepy thought right there.
Mm-hmm. And that was when I was a little more young and a little more dumb, where I would push the envelope a little more, where it was a reality check too of it's not your house. Like the people may be deceased, but at the end of the day, if they're there, it ain't your house. And it was a valuable lesson learned too, because one thing that I really like to do in historic locations or any locations where I know there's been a lot of people is introduce myself and always have the curator or whoever owns the property or who's in charge of the property introduce me to and do a tour, so the spirits in the building will know who I am, and that when we come back at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, they're not all like, who is this guy? And either act negatively or nothing at all. Because I find ever since I've gotten to the habit of respectfully introducing myself, you get a lot more evidence. You get a lot more communications, I find.
Do you do that, Christian?
Exactly. I was, it's funny, I was just thinking of a bar that we used to investigate, and the entity in the bar was just getting so nasty. It was pushing people. There was accidents. There was having electrical problems. There was one incident where the owner, and this happened with me and the owner. We got on a Tuesday night. We actually we're having to sit down and talk. He's going over his issues that he had, and he's actually showing me all his proof he's gotten on his camera systems. And then all the lights go out in the house, or all the lights go out in the bar. You can see the lights in every other building, but our building was the only lights, only been lost lights. All of a sudden, the sinks behind the bar start turning off and on. All the toilets in the bathrooms start flushing independently. And then it sounded like someone was dropping cinder blocks on the second floor. And this went on for like 2 or 3 minutes, and we could not open the door. The door had completely, it locked. We couldn't open the door. I remember yanking on that thing so hard, I thought I was going to break the glass in the door.
Damn.
It was just like some kind of force would not let it open. It opened up a smidge, and then it was like pulled back. I don't know how to explain it. But it was terrifying because that was definitely what I like to call in the paranormal world as a Charmin moment. That's what I call those. And I've had quite a few of those in this general area. But when they take over, man, it's over. I mean, there's nothing you can do. We didn't even get to record anything. It was one of those situations where on the computers everything had just like blanked out. Everyone's cell phone. This was the weirdest thing, Dave. I'm telling you, I've never had this happen. When the doors finally opened and we're just beating feet, I left equipment there. I said, I'll get it later. I'll get it during the day. We were all going back to our cars and everyone's cell phone powered up at the same time. So you're hearing everyone's cell phone, and no one had turned them off. I leave mine on 24/7, but everyone's cell phone was climbing up and turning on. And it was just one of those things where it was terrifying, but because you had no locus of control at all. It was just you were there as a spectator, and you were lucky you got out of there. And that happens quite often. That really does. That happens more often than most people think.
As you guys, because you guys both have way more experience in investigating the paranormal than I do, but as you guys have found, places that are haunted, I mean, it's easy to look at, museums or graveyards or something along those lines. What's truly scary outside of, the manufactured thoughts of a museum or a graveyard being haunted? What is truly scary out there?
You want to go, Merle, or you want me to go on this one?
You go for it. I got to think on that one. I'm going to steal your idea.
I will say old barns. I'm originally from York, Maine, and some of the barns that when I was a kid, we used to play in everyone, all the kids would get together and we used to play in the haylofts and barns and stuff like that. And some of those barns were built like in the late 1600s, or 1640, 1650. And they're still in one piece up there. It's the same thing with Canada. People don't realize how old some houses are in New England. And I know it's the same thing in Canada. So, you can have a house that's 300 years old and it's still considered brand new because they built it right. But I remember some of the barns would go into or the haylofts, you would just get the heebie-jeebies. They would creep you out. And then if you're talking to like the parents of the friends you're with, and they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so's dad died there. And then we had another issue in 20s, 1820s, someone died there. There's all these people that ended up dying there, and they're all the same family bloodline. But it gets terrifying because you get that heebie-jeebie, and something's going on.
For sure. I think for me, it would be hospitals or asylums.
That's a good one.
I don't like hospitals for one, even modern ones. But there's one in Spokane, it's Colfax, Washington. It's called St. Ignatius. It's been on all like your typical ghost hunter shows. They've all investigated the heck out of it. I've done it twice. I'd love to go back next year again as well. That place, you take the Catholic Church, you mix mental illness, you mix orphans, and you mix disease, and it just makes for a scary place. It had like a nun's quarters in it, but it also, which was really creepy because it still looks the same. It looks like it just looks out of like a horror movie, like a possession one. I'm not saying possessions were there. I'm just trying to build you a picture. Like there's still all the old crosses on the walls, all the old like Jesus or like God themed wallpaper everywhere, and like areas where you could see a cross was, but it's just kind of burnt into the wall. And you go downstairs, there's this one room called Rose's room. And they say that she hated men. She hated all the male workers. And they say that when a man goes in there, he feels unwell. He feels kind of uneasy, sometimes gets hurt. I didn't experience that. I think I was more heightened and I was with a pack of people. But just, I tried to walk. The previous year, I walked around the whole place alone. I was helping somebody film something there, and I just had access like for 25 minutes alone while they were doing whatever they're doing, and I was allowed to go check it out. And I didn't have the fortitude to go to the third floor alone. I stopped on the second floor, and I just, Maybe it's because it still has all the old operating stuff, all the old medical instruments, and all the old it just looks like you're playing a scary video game. and you feel followed. Like in this place specifically, that's one of the stories is you feel followed, but not just followed, but basically somebody on your heels. And I felt that there. And I swear to the gods that I heard a female say something in there, and I heard footsteps echoing down the hall from me. So hospitals are scary.
I think the scariest thing for me is the forest.
Mm.
You know, and Flight 21 has scared the hell out of me a number of times. But just being in the forest where you don't know what your next step is because you're battling so many elements. You're battling nature. You're battling weather. You're battling animals. You're battling the paranormal or supernatural. Like, to me, it's like every trail you go to, you have to take those corners a little bit slower because you don't know if there's a mountain lion there or a moose laying down or a grizzly bear or a Sasquatch or you're going to see, you know, a ghost walking down the path. You just don't know. And that just absolutely lovingly terrifies me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a rush. It really is a rush to be out in the forest where you have a paranormal activity happening.
I agree. And once you get addicted to that rush, nothing's gonna. You're done. At that point, you're done. Because like you almost get addicted to being scared. And then if nothing happens, you kind of get disappointed. So you get the highs and lows. It goes highs and lows. So no, I agree with that, Dave. And I'll tell you something else, Dave. The forest, I agree. The forest at night, especially around this time of year, when you know, things are hibernating or it's you're just getting the seasons and you know all the leaves are falling out and you get that real ominous feeling. That's, to me, that's when the best stuff happens in the forest, because you don't get much, you know, more terrifying than that. Because I think it's that, you know, that just, you know, pre-Cambrian type of nature's fear in you that just comes alive, and I think that's like that awesome rush. But forests are terrifying. I agree with you.
No, it is a good time. As we got about 2 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Paranormal Road Trippers, Merle is here for Ghosts of the Great White North. Our special guest, Christian McLeod, AmericanCryptids.com or CryptidGuy.com if you want to check out that. If you're in Quebec, it's CryptidGuy.com. CryptidGuy.com.
Get the Google Translator.
Yes, yes. But the paranormal, and in the next half hour, we're going to get into some of your spookier stories, gentlemen. You know, the paranormal is something that anybody can try. Why do we have this passion, Christian, to scare ourselves?
Because I'm stupid.
I second that.
I don't know. It's just like, you know, I've always been kind of an adrenaline junkie. You know, as a commercial diver, you know, accelerated free fall skydiver. I used to do, you know, I used to take pilot licenses on Cessna 150. Just anything for Rush, any kind of James Bond kind of. I think that's what it is. I think we grew up looking at like James Bond movies and thinking, okay, that's how a man's supposed to act, so we have to do that. Definitely the Batman stuff, you know, any kind of dangerous thing you can think of. You know, I kind of like doing, like, you know, even motorcycles, stuff like that. I love motorcycles. Love to this day. I love motorcycles. But I think it's just a certain type of adrenaline junkie. But I also think it was, you know, I think we're all Generation X, and I think it had something to do with it. Are you millennial? That's all right.
Millennial.
I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go because you're a cool guy. All right, but I think a lot of that has to do, like everyone I know that still does this. I think it has something to do with that Generation X thing. I just don't know how to explain it, because it is, you get addicted to that rush, and that's all you want to do. It's like even when you're working, when you're school, you're driving, you're like, you know, anything to just make you feel alive. And I don't know if it's a mental illness or what, but I totally get that, man, because I know Dave's the same way. You know, Dave may not look like much, but that he's crazy as hell. You know?
Oh no, not me. Not me. I'm a gentle soul. I'm a gentle soul. All right, we have our main man Merle. We have Christian McLeod, Cryptid Guy, and the Paranormal Road Tripper. telling spooky stories next on Spaced Out Radio. All right, boys, we're clear.
Cool.
That was a quick half hour. Are we?
That went fast.
Are we the Backwards Hat Club now, Dave? Is that what we're doing?
I'm
Does
just
Wendy
doing
do that too?
Yeah.
There we go.
Wow.
Big Backwards Hat
T-Bone
Club.
gifting 5 Spaced Out Radio memberships. Thank you, buddy. That's why T-Bone is the man, the myth, and the T-Bone legend all wrapped into one. Thank you, T-Bone.
Dave, Christina says hi. She's right here. Say hi, babe.
Where is that beautiful lass?
Hello.
Hi, gorgeous. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Good. Nice to see you, beautiful.
Nice to see you too. Scary story night.
Scary story.
Good morning,
Stories?
Skip How do you like Jack Merlantern?
That's strong. That's a good name.
That's strong.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Merle. Yeah.
I change his name every half an hour. It's tradition.
It is. It is.
Uh-huh.
It beats Jackass.
You know, call me anything.
I'm with you. That's
As
why
long
I
as you throw food at me once in a while, I'm good. The Dodd had some good names. If you're paying attention, the ones he was writing, he had some strong Halloween themed names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good stuff coming up on the little phrases up here, or
The chat log.
Chat log. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The Dodd only shows up once a month.
The Dodd.
That's a good one. The Merle Witch Project. He just threw that one out there too.
Man, that is good. Merle Witch Project. That could be.
Yeah.
We're not doing movies tonight.
All right, Dave. You pick the next one.
I pick them all. It's part of my treat to myself when you're on the air. I spend half an hour trying to not only think of questions to ask you, but what name to call you. Look at Vanessa here. She's Merlin hard for you.
Merle.
Merle.
You should pursue that, Merle. You should pursue that to the fullest extent.
Merle, trademarked.
Merle, trademark, TM, copywritten.
Property of Spaced Out Radio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We own the night. Tomorrow I'm filing a Freedom of Information Act to make Merle release the video.
Merle, people are bitching.
Joe, I put these photos back there for you, and that's the thanks I get.
No, he
that's
wants
just
the video.
You guys see how much time I took to make sure my background looks good. All right. Got a picture of me, Robin, and Christina right there. All right. Got the Area 51, Christopher Reeve, the only Superman. All right. And then, of course, the Doctor Who stuff all over here. I go all out.
Yeah,
Have you
that's messy. You got to see the rest of the room.
Hey, that's not,
Christian, I know you have the same sixth sense of humor as me, but have you seen any of these AI videos of Stephen Hawking that are going around, like where he's riding the bull or whatever?
Did you see the one where he was a wrestler?
Where he was a wrestler wrestling Christopher Reeve?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just about died.
Some of them are. Did you see the one where Jesus comes down to the WWE?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh my God, that one's hilarious. He comes down and Satan's in the ring waiting for him, and you see it looks, the AI was incredible because it looks just like something out of a WWE event. But then you have Jesus come down and you just see him floating down. He starts dropping the elbow. It's hilarious.
The Stephen Hawking one where he's riding a bull.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
That one it's magnificent.
Yeah, it's. I can't believe he's not around anymore. That's surprising. That's sad.
You drinking a Guinness?
I am.
Nice.
Yes.
Merle
yes.
likes a good Guinness.
Love a good Guinness.
Merle has good taste.
I mean, you guys might as well pour tar down your throat to drink that shit.
Listen, you don't even know.
Listen
Oh,
to
I
me, Black
know.
Tie.
Vitals and that for months.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Liquid tar down your throat. Why don't just grab a nice 5W30 for your car and dump it down your throat? You get the same feeling.
Doesn't get cold enough.
No.
All right, boys. We got like 25 seconds. Foxglove Fairy, welcome to SOR chat. Woo Poo, how you doing? Thank you to T-Bone for the 5 membership gifts. Appreciate that, T-Bone. Thank you for the love. We are still waiting for our first super chat of the night. And Oob to Joe's Bane, you've got ghosts. And here we go. Here we go with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. All right, from the Paranormal Road Trippers, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, it is our main man, Merle, hanging out with us, along with, we call him the cryptid Gee around here, Christian McLeod. It's always lovely to see Christian's happy face when you're on the screen on YouTube, but your voice and your golden dulcet tones are just as perfect. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Thanks,
you.
Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
All right.
I know you love that picture.
All right, let's get right to it. Scariest stories that you have heard. There are many around North America and Canada, the United States, from coast to coast to coast to coast. If that made sense, you'll understand what I actually said, because there are 3 coasts and 2 in the U.S.
That's true, Dave.
I will say this, Christian, I got to tell you this. I want to start off with you here. So I go to bed and I listen to a lot of podcasts and creepypasta stories. And the better half will tune in. She's a light sleeper. So while she's sleeping, she'll hear this. She says to me the other day, I will never go to the Appalachian Mountains because of the feral people and the monsters that are hanging around there. You're right there, man. How scary are the Appalachian Mountains?
About 1,200 people a year disappear. They never get talked about.
Damn.
And that's off of the federal.com. That's I've heard that. I've researched that number. That's an average number. It's never discussed. The feral people are a very real thing. Specifically, they're about 20 miles away from me, where that happens. That's the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. That I am completely convinced on some of the disappearances from the Great Smoky Mountain due to feral people. It is a real thing. I've actually spoken to rangers over the years that they know they're there. They have a general idea where they are. They just don't want to go get them because it's too much of a hassle. I've also heard stories about Bigfoot being mistaken for feral people and things of that nature. But Appalachia is no joke. It really guys. I'm going to tell you this. It's a weird place. I love it. I was born in it. I'm from Maine. I mean, I was born right in the Appalachian Mountains in northern Appalachia, but it is a freaky place. There's all kinds of weird stuff that happens out here that's never even talked about. In our general area, we're near Asheville. You've got black masses, satanic worship, witchcraft, dark Wicca. I mean, all this stuff happening, and it's all happening in the mountains. And I'm not judging anyone. Hey, do what you want. It's America. But it to me, it's really freaky because I've actually over the years I've run into different things, and I'll tell you what, all that does. I'll tell you straight up, that scares the hell out of me. A lot of that stuff because I have run into it in the woods, and there's been a few times I didn't think I was coming back out.
See, I've talked to a lot of people. Do you say Appalachia or Appalachian?
Yeah. I call Appalachia, but I'm not, like I said, I got rid of my southern accent. Like I said, I'm originally from Maine, so it's Appalachia.
Fair. I've done a lot of research on the Appalachian Mountains. I've done a lot of research on like the Whitakers. Have you? On the
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I know there's a lot of people that are kind of like that up there. Where, yeah. Would you consider like that borderline feral people? Are you talking like
no?
These a movie like The Wrong Turn or the Melonheads?
The Melonheads, that's a totally different that's a totally different folklore. But these people, I honestly believe, just from what I've observed and read, and I'm actually over here on my desk. I've got several FOIA accounts that they think some disappearances were pretty much just due to Appalachia feral people. But I think what happens is they just get so inbred over the decades, and they just stay out there. I think they just kind of go, nuts. Whether or not it's Bigfoot or not, I don't know. But you have the wild man, the Tennessee wild man. We've got Sukaloo in this area, and that's all. The Bigfoot and all that other stuff, and that's all combined. So I mean, realistically, if I was being 100%, logistics of what I think happens, I'd say it's 33, 33, and 33. I think it's 33%, feral people, 33% Bigfoot, maybe 33% something else. But I honestly believe that a lot of people that disappear run into feral people. And it makes sense because if you think about it, when they grab someone, they either want, new blood, they either want the supplies they're carrying, maybe, or the medicine or weapons, anything. I mean, it just depends. But think about it. If you grew up in the middle of nowhere in the sticks, and you're in the mountains, you're going to want to, have a different bloodline or bring in some fresh blood. And I think that's what happens to a lot of these people, especially the women that disappear. Because there's a lot more men that disappear, hunters and things like that. But when the women disappear, they're gone. There's no, you never find anything. Sometimes when a hunter disappears, in a couple of years you find a skull or boots or things of that nature. But when women disappear, you really never see anything.
Now for our listeners who are not very familiar, because I have a lot of ghost like paranormal listeners, how would you describe feral people?
I think they're just. I honestly think they're just regular human beings that have been inbred to the point where they're probably high functioning special type mentally. I don't mean to sound mean, but I mean that's what would happen. But they also have a very aggressive behavior, and cannibalism is probably not out of the picture either. I think they're just doing anything they can to survive, and living in the Appalachia, you can people can disappear in these mountains and live if they know what they're doing. So I think when you get resources and food and things of that nature, you can just kind of figure you're going to stay out there and never come back. But it becomes very interesting because the dichotomy is like, is there an intellectual limit to these people where they're not going to do something, or you already know they're just going to go to baser instincts? And it's just, to me, I find it fascinating because it's like, how can a human de-evolve like that? But in another sense, they have to de-evolve to reconcile their actions. So it's fascinating. It's just fascinating when you look at the psychology view of it.
I know here on the West Coast, Washington, they at the Olympia National Forest, they say that there's what do we call them, a colony, a group of feral people that live in there. See, for me, I'd wanna go investigate it, like as a documentarian or like investigative journalism.
Well, Merle, I'll tell you what, brother. You can look. You got a place to stay. You get your own room, your own bathroom. You stay here as long as you want. I'll take you wherever you want to go. You want to investigate that, but we are going out armed.
That's fine.
That's the one thing. We're not. I don't go out there without something.
That makes sense.
People you never know what you're going to run into.
Because like Oh, sorry, Dave.
There's feral people allegedly between Anaheim Lake and Bella Coola in British Columbia too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got told that by a First Nations member of the Anaheim Lake band recently. I do have a question quickly, Christian, because I do want to get to your spooky story, the spookiest thing that's ever happened to you. But in regards to the feral people, do they set up traps? Like you see in movies with holes in the ground or some kind of booby traps in order to try and catch people?
I believe they do. I don't know if it's to the elaborate extent. Maybe they put some snares in, or maybe they just see people coming down the path and they just ambush them. But I don't put that past anything. It would not surprise me. I think there's, what's funny is you make that point with the pits. There's a lot of pits. People dig holes and then abandon them, and you got to wonder what they're doing there. I mean, I've seen them on the Appalachian Trail. I've seen them in the Great Smoky Mountain Parks. I've seen them on the mountains up here. And it's like, why would you have like a 8-foot hole off the main path? What's the purpose of that? The tree, you don't see any tree. There's no roots. There's nothing. It's like someone physically dug that. But I believe that's exactly probably what that was for. So no, Dave, I believe you. And then I'm sure that came from a First Nations person too, because that's where I learned what those things were from some of them up here, the Cherokee, and they don't play with that stuff. They'll tell you straight up, stay away from that.
See, for me, like I know what this stuff creeps me out, Dave. You want to talk about creepy stuff? The feral people really, I put that in the hospital thing. That kind of scares me too, like we were talking about last hour. But like, that's something that I would want to push the envelope with because nobody really has. There goes an idea out into the world. But like, I would love to capture it. And I know what you're saying. I know that this stuff terrifies people. People get terrified by the feral people, but no one's really had the documented interact. Like, it's just something I've always wanted to explore. That the Appalachian Mountains, like totally.
Like I said, I mean that's an honest. We'll swap contact info when we're off air. But I'm telling you, man. If you want to do it, I will take you to ground zero. And I'm 45 miles from the Great Smoky Mountains, National Park. I would have absolutely no problem spending a couple of weeks out there. And like I said, you've got a place to stay, whatever you need. And I will tell you something else. I was just loading on the chat up there. You can't drone. Like I have a drone. I use drones myself, and you can't drone in a national park in America. It's illegal.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, unless you get permission, but even then, it's like good luck. I'm still waiting for permission from 3 years ago.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to a spooky story, Christian. What's either the spookiest story you've ever had happen to you, or that you've heard in your investigation and your trails that you've?
One of the spookiest things that ever happened to me. Well, first of all, I have two real. The first one's short. When I was a kid growing up in York, Maine. We had there was a legend of a witch named Sarah Sewell, and she was buried in the old jail graveyard. And me and three of my friends, it was one of these things. It was Halloween was like on a Friday. We decided we were going to go spend the night in the graveyard to wait to see Sarah Sewell. And I think about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, we started waking up after the candy rush. And I remember we all saw the same thing. We saw like this woman dressed in white standing on her grave and telling us that we were all going to be damned if we didn't get out of there. And I think I broke land speed records on my little Columbia bike with the banana seat, trying to race back home to get comfort. But I remember that happened. That was one of the weirder ones. I think I was 10 when I did that. But the scariest thing that ever happened to me on a Halloween, I will tell you this, happened in probably 1998 in a place called Sarasota, Florida. I was bouncing at a bar, and it was very, very popular. It's not there anymore. I don't want to give the name of it, but we had what was called the Crow's Nest, and the Crow's Nest was like a higher point in the bar where we have one bouncer standing there, and then we all had radios, and they were sporadically put between the floor and the doors. And we had this one young lady walk in, and she was gorgeous. I'll never forget. She was just drop dead gorgeous. She had this jet black hair, these bright blue eyes, and she was brilliant. And one of the bouncers had made a comment about her. And we had a rule. The one rule in the nightclub was you couldn't have glass on the dance floor. You just couldn't have it. It was like a whole thing. And this one particular young lady was causing a problem. So I had to come off the crow's nest, and I'm on the phone, and we got 3 other guys coming in. And I just want to say this again. This is a true story. I don't really talk about this one much, but this is one of the days that scared the ever-loving bejesus out of me. One of the bouncers walked up to her and asked her to, put her wine glass down. I watched her pick this guy up. He was 340 pounds. She picked him up with one arm and threw him across the room, and he smashed into the glass on the wall. Another guy came around. She turned around, and she grabs his face and bites him right here. And she put 2 holes right here on his face and then threw him down. And this is when I got real scared. I was coming down from the front, and I look over, and in this dance place, it was all mirrors and frosted glass. And as I'm looking at the mirror right next to me, she has absolutely no reflection. Absolutely no reflection. She looked at me, and she just pointed at me like that. And she turned around and walked out. And then another bouncer tried to grab her. This guy used to be a pro wrestler, by the way. She picked this guy up and threw him across the bar. And then next thing I know, all the lights coming on. They're asking everyone out. The police came, and we had to give, our statements and things like this. And apparently that same kind of thing had happened the prior night at a bar further down the street. And that was like a Halloween party. Christina can tell you, where that was, because she was back around then. It was the old place I used to bounce at. We don't want to mention the name, but the place was it ruined Halloween. It was on a Halloween night. It just wrecked it. They ended up shutting it down. The cops came. The gentleman that got bit right here. We had to take him to the hospital. It would not stop bleeding. He couldn't get it to stop bleeding. And when they asked him what happened to him, the doctor said it looked like a canine bite. And it wouldn't stop. They had to laser it to stop it to bleed. They had to cauterize it. And that was just terrifying. And so here's how it ends. There's me and 5 of the biggest guys you can think of. Like, these guys were just bruisers, man. They were huge. And we're all sitting downstairs in the basement, drinking Mick Light, waiting for the sunlight to come up because we were too scared to go to our cars.
The vampire.
Dude, it was I'm telling you, man, that they had the videotape of it, and the police took it. There was a videotape, but you couldn't see her. I mean, I was watching it. It completely freaked us out. It was one of the things that it totally, at that point in my life, and I was a kid. I was maybe 22. And I was thinking about, because I'd always loved the paranormal stuff, but I was thinking about getting out of the investigating side and stop looking for big. It was stupid. I need to focus more on school, focus more on college. And when that happened, it just kind of, revitalized me. But that's a story I don't tell a whole lot, because that, to this day, I still have no idea what happened to that woman. That terrified me, because it was, maybe she was 5'2", maybe 95 pounds, 5'2", but just, I watched her throw guys across the room that I couldn't even pick up.
Yeah, and it was not a alternative club or a biker bar or something. This is a really popular nightclub. Yeah. Everybody went to dance and go to 80s night and stuff. It was
80s night was huge.
Yeah, you would not expect something like this to happen there.
But when the guy came back, he had this bandage over here, and they had stitched his basically, and the guy put it down in some kind of animal bite. And he said it did, for some reason, there was he thought there was an enzyme in there that kept it from healing. He said it just kept bleeding constantly. So we literally waited 5 hours in the basement, drinking Mick Light, waiting for the sun to come up. And then when we were walking, I had an old Ford Bronco. Remember the red and white Broncos? I don't know if you guys remember those. I had this old Bronco.
Millennial.
And they were doing landscaping by the car, and they had those stakes in the ground with the orange flags. I pulled that stake out, and I walked it to I left that in my car for like a month. I didn't take it out. But that was probably the most terrified I'd ever been on a Halloween.
Interesting.
Was she arrested? Was there?
They never found her. Dave, this is still an unsolved.
She just
She threw
vanished.
a guy- The window, like they had the frosted glass, that was at least a half inch, right? What did
Yeah.
you say? And the frosted glass was really nice. It had like, it was really thick, but it had like fish on it, and you know, it looked like it was like a seascape. It had the frosted glass. She threw a guy through that, man. Threw it, just boom, like it was nothing. And then when they were doing,
True
we
Blood.
looked at everything on the videotape. We're watching it happen, but she wasn't there. It looked like someone, you just looked, you jumped through it. And then the police confiscated it. And then there was a specific sergeant that came in, and he told us that he was going to handle it. He had a case prior the day before, the same kind of thing, and he was going to take care of it. And I never heard back ever. I have no idea whatever happened with that.
Wow.
That is just absolutely incredible. Absolutely. I mean, to see somebody with your own eyes having this superhuman strength.
I watched her pick up a guy that used to pro wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was, when I say he was, Dave, this guy was huge, huge. And just one arm, like nothing, just. And then when she bit the other guy, that was gross. Because I saw that too, and there was like a splatter. I'm not good with blood.
And what was her problem again?
So she had a glass of Cabernet, and you weren't allowed to have glass on the dance floor. That was the one rule in the place. You couldn't have glass on the dance floor. And she had it, and when she was asked to take it off, she basically, you know, and that's how it all started. And I had never seen, and I will tell you this guy, they closed the club down. So this happens around midnight. They shut the place down. We didn't close till 2:30. They just shut the place down. The cops came. This was on one of the busiest nights of the year, and this happens. And they just shut it down, and everyone was like, everyone saw it. Like everyone that was there had the exact same story. I remember there was a bartender. He said he was just completely terrified because like he gave her the wine, like he sold her the wine, and like when he got her cash, like he felt her, and she felt like she was ice cold.
Vampire.
Like she was ice cold. And like I said, this is the early 90s in Sarasota, Florida.
That's just creepy.
Yeah, it scared the Jesus out of me. Because honestly, we had 2 guys quit that night. That was it. They're done. And then the guy that got bit, he called in the next weekend, and I never saw him again. And then we replaced everyone, and then I left shortly after that. But it was terrifying. Because I just didn't think I just didn't believe stuff like that existed. I mean, I believe in ghosts and stuff, but when you see something like that, it's a whole different ball game. And then it gave me, and then it was kind of mentally messing with me because I didn't believe in shapeshifter. That to me, it never made sense. And I'm not saying I saw her do that, but to take that to the level where it was, there had to be something else there. Because when I say she dipped, she walked out the front door. People went, when she started walking, people just went. One lady reported saying that she had like red glowing eyes. I didn't see that. And other people were just like, they were just terrified. And I'm talking full grown adult men were just terrified. I mean, it wasn't just the bouncers. It was some of the people that were there. And they did like just point blank said she was just horrifying.
Pam
Yeah,
from
we didn't leave till sunup. We got off at 3 o'clock. Like we were supposed to get off at 3 o'clock. We cleaned up the bar. We got everything done at like 1, and we stayed downstairs and we're drinking Mick Light. I'll never forget. We had a case of Mick Light. I went in the fridge. I got a case of Mick Light, and we just sat there, and everyone was just sitting there, and nobody was saying a word. Nobody. The guy that got bit was kind of like so freaked out that he started crying. And this was a big dude too. This is, he was playing football for a local college, and he was freaked out. He was freaked out. He just started drinking Mick Light like it was water, and then someone had to drive him home. But it was messed up. It was not a good scene. And like I said, that was probably the most I've ever been terrified because I've done so many stupid things like, doing the cryptid investigations and things like that. But this was the first time I'd ever been like in a situation like in my daily life where something like this had happened. And it did mess with me for a while. I'll be honest with you. I think I quit 2 weeks after that. And I just I wouldn't go out at night for a couple months. I just stayed home. It was just one of those things that you had to, I went back. I'll tell you what, I did go back to church after that. That was one of the reasons why I went back to church. because of that incident. Because up to then, I was like thinking I was an atheist, and but that freaked me. So I even when I'm thinking about it now, I'm getting goosebumps because that chick is still out there.
Gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We don't know what the siren in the bar was that night. Christian McLeod from cryptidguy.com. Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers. More weird, creepy stories when we return.
This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
I love it when you move your microphone like that, Merle.
My microphone, was it making noise
Yeah.
like that?
Well, you guys chat. I'm going to for a weather check.
Cigarette.
I think he's a vapor. Loves a good vape. Grapefruit flavored.
Joe says, Christian, maybe she's standing right behind you. It's possible.
It wasn't me.
It was you.
I was blonde back then.
You were around. You
It
could have done
was-
it. You could have done it.
You would have known if it was me.
Yeah.
That sounds
That-
like some vampire things.
That was probably, and you know what? For years, I wouldn't even talk about that story.
Yeah.
I wouldn't talk about it. But you know what, Merle? Here's the weirdest thing. Here's the weirdest thing about that whole story. It's 100% true. There's witnesses even today. I still talk to one of the other bouncers. He's still a buddy of mine. Actually, he lives up here in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And the police, the way it was handled by the cops, they had this sergeant guy come in, and that was it. He's like, it was kind of like the X-Files dude. He handled all that. He grabs the tape and everything. He got our statements. He got our contact info, and then Christian, is it possible the vampire woman put a spell on you and ended up living with her? And she's standing there right with you. It is possible. She's right here. It's possible she's right here.
We knew each other back then.
Yeah, we did.
He would have recognized me.
Definitely. Well, maybe I was pretending I didn't know.
But did she have a reflection in a mirror? That's what's important.
She didn't. No, this
She didn't show up on the videotape.
She didn't show up on the videotape. She didn't show up on the way it was is like this club was really nice. It was a fine dining establishment, and then at night they moved all the tables and everything, and there was a nightclub. And it was really really popular. But they had these huge frosted glass panes, and they'd have fish on them, and it looked like the water. And then next to them there'd be a huge mirror from the floor up. I mean, 12, 13-foot mirror.
Mm-hmm.
You remember those? I mean,
yeah,
they were all.
Huge.
They were huge, and she was standing right in front of it. And I remember looking just because I couldn't help it. I saw myself in the mirror, and she's standing right like 3 feet from me, and she's not there, but her wine's like right there. And after that, that's when she pointed at me, and that scared the bejesus out of me.
That would be quite terrifying, I reckon.
Yeah, it honestly, it did not. You talk about like freaking out at night, hearing anything. I was like, what that? But no, I left that steak. That was in my Bronco for, honestly, it must have been at least a year. Honestly, it was right by my gear shift. I was like, what is that?
So you knew it was a vampire. You had a steak ready
I
for
don't
it.
know if it was. I'm not going to say it was a vampire. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but it was something that was not normal because you don't pick up. Dude, this girl, I don't know how to explain. This girl was, I know it sounds, and I'm not saying this for my wife or anything to sound like, I'm a perv, but dude, she was gorgeous. She was gorgeous. But she picked that dude up. This is an old friend of mine, dude. This guy had to be 308 pounds. And she picked him up like this and threw him. And he went flying. He hit people. He was head level. His boots kicked people in his flight path, and before he hit, and when he hit, he broke. He ended up broken one of his frosted glasses, and thank God it shattered because if it had come down in one big chunk, he'd been dead.
I guess the lesson learned was don't tell her what to do.
Yeah. If she wants, next time, if, my luck, it'll be like another 5 years or something. I'll be at a club. I'll be like, you see this chick with, no, don't tell her. Leave her alone.
Let her do it. Let her do it.
And Joe Monk, yes, because the night before there was an incident at another club down the street.
Downtown?
Yeah. Can't think of the name. We'll talk about it offline. You know which one it was. How they used to do the triple? I can't.
Oh, yeah. The crawl.
Yeah.
I had a couple bangers for at the top of the hour that I'll tell. I have a work ghost story that I'll share that actually terrifies me to even think about. Because
I got one where the only one that's really scary is when I got involved in an exorcism on Halloween.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, we'll talk about that one too.
That
That's
hurt.
a must.
I got scars from that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got thrown out a window.
Dang.
Yeah, that hurt like a bitch. That hurt. That happened in Jersey. 05.
How's the weather, Dave?
Good.
Good.
Weather's good.
The weather outside is frightful.
Not yet.
You guys gonna be getting snow soon?
Yeah, it snowed here last Sunday, but it didn't stick.
Wow.
Mike Bothwell, how you doing?
Never get between a woman and her red wine, I guess. You're right. You're right. Love. Love is right.
What's in the cabinet behind me? Oh, lots of stuff.
Looks like a head.
That's a doll, a 1902 or 1910 doll. What else we got? She's broken though. We got a lot of Victorian photos. Pardon, Dave?
I just said Fap Nuts. How are you?
A lot of pre-Civil War photos, 1850s photos, post-mortem.
Are those relatives of yours, Merle?
No, they're rent-a-relatives.
Oh, that's cool.
All right.
But they're cool, right? I love them.
Trucker Andrew with our lone super chat for tonight. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you to T-Bone for buying 5 memberships and gifting them. Thank you, T-Bone. We appreciate you. And here we go, everybody. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to say hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Enoptromancy. Enoptromancy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. All right, let's bring in our guest tonight, our main man in the paranormal world. He goes by Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers. And, of course, Christian McLeod, the Cryptid Guy, cryptidguy.com, for hanging on out with us. Gentlemen, welcome back. And Cryptid Guy, you told a pretty spooky story right before the break, and I'll tell you, it just made me feel, a little bit wheezy to my stomach here. It really did. But Merle, how about you? What's your creepiest encounter?
I'll give you 2. I'll give you a warm-up act, and then I'll give you my really creepy one after. So my mother, this one hasn't been told on Spaced Out Radio ever, Dave. My mother, she passed away in 2006.
Sorry about that, Merle.
That's all good. But she was a bit of a hoarder. She collected Tupperware. Like that ugly orange stuff or the brown one or the
old ones with like spaghetti stains on them.
Vintage, those ones. Yep.
Oh boy.
And even if they're broken, she'd put them in the basement for what if they do the lids again or whatever. And so me using humor in times of sorrow, awkwardness, or to alleviate any sort of tension. I get home. This was probably the day after my dad and I got home from the hospital from after she passed away. And we go into the basement and I just look around and I look at my dad and I'm like, well, guess we can get rid of her Tupperware now. And he just looks at me like I'm an insensitive little, but it's kind of funny in hindsight. But that night when we all went to bed, I heard the basement door slam, and all of the Tupperware just leveled off the shelves and all over the floor. And like after I heard the bam, I go downstairs and I see it. I see all the Tupperware all over the floor, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, Mom, I'm sorry for saying that." And I cleaned it all up that night. but that terrified me because that was in my own house, and clearly my mother heard me say that when I was just joking. But my second one, this happened at work. This was probably in 2014, 2015, so a while ago. With my job, unfortunately, I see a lot of dead people quite often. And this was, I went to they call it like a sudden death. The person passed away in their house, and they were there for a while. And we had to take some animals out of the house. I was training one of our new people to do this. So I was supervising them while they were doing that. And unfortunately, some of them went under the bed that the guy was in. And obviously you're being respectful because of what we're doing, and you want the best for the animals that were there for so long. And we gently collect them, we get them, and I kind of felt off all day. I felt a little wound up. I felt a little anxious, and but more cranky actually, which normally I can just leave it and go, and because you have to do that at work. And that night I had a paranormal investigation, and it was just me meeting 3 of my friends, one of which he was a medium. And I get out of my truck and I walk up to the people's house. It was a private residential house. And he goes, "Who do you got with you?" And I look behind me, I look at my truck, I'm like, "No one, man, it's just me." And he's like, "No, you really cranked someone up today and got them upset at you. Did you steal today? Did you go into someone's house and steal something?" And I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "No, I didn't steal anything. But I was at a file where there was a person passed away." And so the medium described the man to a T, to what he was wearing, what he looked like, and how the guy didn't want to leave me because he was mad that we took some items out of his house. And before I could enter the paranormal investigation, I had to have the medium basically cut the cord of the attachment of the spirit from that house off of me because he didn't want to leave me alone. And that kind of creeped me out a lot because, again, when you're not ghost hunting, that stuff can happen to the average person. And what's scary is the average person wouldn't know that happened. And that's what creates oppression with certain people and just going down a dark path. Because apparently that's what spirits can do too, because you have a story of an exorcism. But that was really scary. And that one sticks with me just because it was so personal. And yeah, I don't ever want to have to experience that again.
That is creepy, man.
Yeah, that's messed up, man. Especially when someone attaches to you. Not good.
But I guess it was the fact that, like, I know he has passed away, and we're extremely respectful when we go to properties. It's the dead person. Of course, you want to be respectful. And now, when I go to these calls, and I see that I have to do the things I have to do in my head, if I know the person's name, or if I don't, because oftentimes we do, I'll say in my head, I'm sorry that I'm here. I'm so and so. I'm taking care of this. And since then, I've been doing that. It seems to be okay.
Yeah, but see, you're making peace with the person that's just passed. I think there's everyone says that the second everyone dies, there's that bright light moment. I think sometimes people hang out for a little bit because they're not sure what's going on. They don't know they've passed.
100%.
I think what happens, I think that's where you get most of your paranormal activities. Like, people don't know they've passed. They're I've got places where on my ghost tour, Haunted Asheville, where we go to and kids have died there, and when you do the recordings and you get the digital audio recordings, it sounds like kids running and laughing and having a great time. I don't think they've passed. So if you look at it that way, they get to be kids forever, and that's, what's wrong with that? But I think a lot of these people, when they pass, it's such a shock, or they don't know what's coming. They stick around for a little bit, and then, you have what you had. Are you, I'm guessing you're in EMS emergency services?
No, I'm in some sort of enforcement.
Okay. No, I'm not trying to be because
Yeah.
I did emergency medical services for a while, and the same thing would happen. Like you walk into a place and someone had passed, and like you can feel it. Like you can feel it's just not right in there. Like there's something, like the air's heavy. Like
I agree with that. It's funny you mention that. I normally don't share that because people are like, "How do you know?"
you can feel it.
Oftentimes when you go to files where it's a sudden death or a dead body, you can either feel them or you don't.
Yeah.
Like you can feel that they're still alive, and I guess, exactly what you said. It's heavier. You can't explain it, but sometimes you can tell when they're no longer there. I don't share that opinion often, but like people in my field or related fields, they all say the same thing, even if they're not into the spooky stuff. It's bizarre. It's creepy.
Well, there's a big difference because a lot of people in our field, they're either in the spooky stuff, they're into the woo woo, or they're just like into the this happened, and it's just very A, B, or C. It's like black or white with them. And then somewhere in the middle between all that, that's where I like to, that's where I like to think I am, because I give, we just don't know. And that's the thing, there's nothing worse. Nothing makes me more upset when we talk about the paranormal than someone calling themselves a paranormal expert. Because you're not. That's a lie. When I do my tours, the first thing I say to most people, if anyone says they're a paranormal expert, they're lying to you. There's no such thing as an expert in this field because we don't know enough. We can extrapolate a bunch of information. You can do research up to wazing, and that's why I read. We read everything we can about a place, or we do the research. But the truth is, I'm not an expert in the paranormal or cryptid world, and anyone says they're lying to you. Because all you can do is just give your best, scientific interpretation of what's going on, and go from there. Present the facts that you have found, and here it is. That's why, like, if you go on my website, I don't say this is proof. This is some of the research we've gotten. You make your own decision. Here it is. Here's the pictures. It just drives me nuts when people call themselves a cryptid or a paranormal expert. It's infuriating because they make the rest of us look bad.
Fair.
It's annoying. Dave, what do you think about that?
No, I would fully agree. We've said that topic a number of times here on this show over the years. It's not just paranormal investigator. It's them using the word science. So they're conducting scientific experimentation. And that they haven't conducted a scientific experimentation since probably high school.
Yeah, where are the qualifications? Yeah, where did you learn how to do this?
Yeah,
right. But I could debate that all night long. It's a real pet peeve.
Well, I got into it with a guy that he's telling me he's an expert in the cryptid and paranormal, and he's using the scientific method. And my first thing was, okay, well, where'd you go to school for that? And I said, I went to high school. And I said, so where did you become, this expert? He goes, well, I read the internet. Really? You're going to die on that hill? That's where you're going to go with this. So it's annoying because people, I know people have been doing paranormal stuff like Robin. Robin will tell you first, Robin Haynes. I love Robin to death, but Robin will tell you she's not an expert and she's been doing this for 30, 40 years, something like that. But that's honest. She's like, it's people like that. When people are honest about it, you can't help but, think they're good people. But like I said, when someone says, "Oh, I'm an expert in this," I'm not an expert in anything. So I wouldn't know what that feels like. But when they start claiming to be an expert in the paranormal or the cryptid world, that just drives me nuts.
Have you ever been touched by a spirit, like on the arm or like?
When we were talking about that exorcism thing, I've been pushed out a window.
Well, let's talk about the exorcism.
Get in there.
I have never gone on record with this one, but this happened in October. I believe it was October 19th of 2005. I was in New Jersey, and I was in a paranormal group, or I was affiliated with the paranormal group. I just want to say that. and they had arranged for an exorcism to be done on a young lady, and they asked me to be a witness, basically film. And I said yes, because I have to say this. At that point in my life, I was in my, I was a young punk. I was dumber than I am now, which is kind of hard to believe. And I had no faith. Does that make sense? I was in that I didn't believe in anything phase, because if this is, why is the world being acted like this? And then, I believed in the paranormal, supernatural, but I thought about it on a different plane of existence. At that point, I just didn't have any. I didn't have any Jesus in my life. Does that make sense? It was one of these things where I just thought that you transcended, and you either went to this place, or you stayed here. And when I got asked to witness this, I was like, oh sure, this will be fun, because I never believed. I look at The Exorcist, the movie, and I kind of laugh sometimes because I think it's funny on some of the things, and when you witness it, it's a little different. So when we got there at 6 o'clock at night. It was in New Jersey. I'll tell you this story. It was in South New Jersey. It's close to Philadelphia. There was a Catholic priest, his assistant. There was me and 3 other guys. One of the gentlemen that I was involved with this in was, when this happened, he thought he could do it himself. He took on a job where he never should have been part of anything, and he ended up. Well, basically, let's put it this way: he's still in a lunatic asylum in New Jersey since 2005. But he did something after this. But I think this had something that helped. But here's exactly what happened. We go upstairs. They're starting the ceremony. They're speaking Latin. They're doing their whole thing. They're the holy water and everything. I started kind of laughing to myself. I thought it was a joke. The entity inside the young lady made a comment about my father that nobody would know. He said my dad's first, middle, and last name, and then he made a comment about an incident that had happened, and I am not. Man, I'm getting a little upset thinking about this, but I was not close with my dad. And when this comment was made, I was like, "Oh, what the?" And I even said, "What the?" I was like a little surprised, because like, "What did you say?" And this thing addressed me by my full name, and then it told me to get out, and it moved its arms like this, and I felt a force push me through the window, and I went through the second story window, rolled over the awning, and then fell in the bushes.
Dang.
And I was in church the next day. And that scared the bejesus out of me, because I've never. I mean, there was things that happened that I don't discuss, but whatever it was, knew exactly what went down, and it messed with me, and it actually kind of gave me a jump start getting my faith back, because since then I go. In fact, I was in confession today. But
Are you Catholic?
Yes.
Yeah.
And ever since then, man, that just kind of reaffirmed my faith. But it's scary as hell when you see something like that. I don't even know how to explain it, because I watched a 45, 50-pound girl break chains that were 1.25 inches. Just break them like it was nothing, like one of those, Superman things. And then the other stuff happened, and it was.
I have a question for you. It's kind of a faith-based question. I am not religious.
I understand.
But one thing I like to ask is, do you find faith protects you, like genuinely? Like, I'm just asking because of your story. So because I know how, I'll just say, some people use like crystals, or some people use sage, or some people.
I use sage. I wear feldspar quartz crystals. I wear a rosary. I've got, I don't know how many times I've got my patron Saint Benedict. I've got a Saint Benedict ring. I wear but I will tell you this: faith is the only thing that I know saves. And that's just me. That's just
for sure.
my faith is the only thing I know that saved me. My love of Jesus Christ and the protection it gives me is the only thing that's kept me from being whacked. I don't know what else to say. I mean, that's just the truth. That's just for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't ever I don't judge anyone. I've got friends of mine that are atheists. I got friends of mine that are in a cults. I got friends of mine that are into Wicca, witchcraft, stuff like that. I don't judge. You know, that's not for me. My religion is probably the only thing that allows me to do what I do without worrying about anything. And the other thing, you know, and I will say this: when you walk into my house, there's holy water, there's shrine. I mean, my place has been protected. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. If you think it's a little overkill, but I worry about Christina. I don't want to ever bring anything home. I don't want to ever bring anything through my front door attached to me.
Hey, the first day I got here, when I got off the plane, he put a Saint Benedict around my neck and said, "Wear this all the time. I want you protected. I'm scared something's going to take you away from me. Put this right here and leave it there."
You don't have to tell them all that.
Well, sorry.
Cat's out of the bag.
Romantic.
Yeah.
We got
I worry about the people with my face. You know, I worry about the people's closest to me. I'm sure you've done investigations where you've been in situations where, like, damn, I hope that thing didn't attach to me. You know, we did an investigation once on a nursery or a daycare center, Tiny and I, and the second we walked into this place, we saw shadows go like the four corners. It was crazy, but you know, that was one of the other times we thought something might attach to us, and we had we got sage and everything, and that's usually when a big deal comes up. So I use all precautions. I'm not just saying okay, blah blah. We'll sage a place. We'll do what it takes. You know, I'm a firm believer. You can't have enough protection. So that's kind of how we are. I mean, monopolize all the time, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just saying that.
No, that's interesting for me because, like, one confession I have, since you went to confession, I'll go to confession today. I'm kidding. Is religion terrifies me.
Why?
I don't know. Always has. Like, terrifies me.
Well, I'll tell you. You know what's cool about my specific church that I go to, that we go to, both of our priests there are exorcists.
Interesting.
So it's like, so if something happens, I have the ability, I can call, hey, I think I did something I probably should, blah, blah, blah. So I get it handled pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's just, like I said, it's just the faith, man. And water meets its own level. And if that doesn't work for you, then something else will, man. But like I said, you have an open invite to come here as long as you stay. You want to spend a month here. You got your own room, your own bathroom, whatever you want to do. We'll go film stuff. I'll bring you to church.
Only if you want to.
Only if you want to. I'm not recruiting, but I think you just enjoy meeting a couple of people. But I'm telling you, for me, it's been the best thing because I'm naturally on the darker side, if that makes sense. That's like my natural disposition. I'm a little darker, and I know that about myself. And if I don't take precautions about that, I could see myself turning to the dark side. Does that make sense?
100%.
And if I didn't have my faith, then I don't know what the hell I'd be. I honestly, I'm not saying I'm anything more than what I'm ever going to be. It's just I don't know, and it's not a place I want to delve into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Like, since we've been talking horror and Halloween time, those are like my favorite kind of like scary movies. Or like
I love it. We watch every Wednesday. We'll do Werewolf Movie Wednesday, and we'll look for the cheesiest werewolf movies on YouTube or wherever, and we watch them because we love. I just love horror movies.
Yeah.
And maybe that makes us a sociopath. I don't know.
Sometimes we find a really good movie, and sometimes we just get a really good laugh and make fun of it.
But it's one of those things where, like you said, and I know faith is really important to Christina too, because
definitely
when she she's on the tours with me every night, and we go to places that are legitimately haunted. They're paranormally active, and as many times as we've been there, if something hasn't attached, it's not gonna. It's one of those things. But that's because we have our faith. And again, that's just me. I mean, I could sage every time I do a tour. I could do something like this, but that's just not what I do. In that moment, have I done? Of course, I've saged in my cigar box. You know, I've got red dragon blood sage. I'm not afraid to break it out. I sage in my house. I do it all. But like I said, just for me, my faith in Jesus and in the Lord Almighty, it just kind of gives me strength and makes me keep doing what I do.
All right, gentlemen, when we come back from the break at the bottom of the hour, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take some audience questions. That's always fun. Audience questions are always fun.
I love them.
Spaced Out Radio. Why not? We got our main man, Merle, from the Paranormal Road Trippers, and Christian McLeod coming up next.
Yeah, no, I totally see that. Yeah.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
How'd you like Frank Merlstein?
I loved it, Dave. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
See, I was baptized Roman Catholic. But yeah, I just never.
You know what?
Yeah.
Like I said, brother, I have never. I don't judge anyone, but can I ask you a question? Just how old are you? Just off the.
43 years young.
Dude, you look honestly.
You look younger.
You look like you're in your early 30s. You really do. God bless
Health
you.
is wealth.
But you know what? When you feel like it's time, I honestly think there's like a clock in everyone. I think when it's their time for their faith to kick in, no matter what it is, it just kind of rings in their heart and they know it, and then they go back to it. But like I said, I'm not gonna. I'll tell you straight. When I was 18, 19, 20, 22, for about 4 years, I was an atheist. I didn't believe in anything. I thought it was ridiculous. And then a few of those incidents like that one we talked about, that really it changed me. It changed me. And I saw what happened. I have a relative that I honestly believe was possessed. And that I don't even like talking about that, but that to me, that molded me a little different. And then when I started like converting that, thinking I was an atheist, and that darker side of me came out, I kind of noticed it more. You know what you are. And I realized I was becoming a very dark person, and then other incidents fell, and then I got back to religion. But I honestly believe that those incidents probably saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I didn't have them, I don't even know what I'd be. So like I said, I'm a firm believer. People know if they're dark or not. I know. I got a real dark sense of humor. I think a lot of stuff's funny. But just
thankfully we share that.
Yeah, and so does the hot slice. But it's just one of those things where when you're ready, you're ready. And like I said, man, Merle, if you have me, I'm there for you, brother. Whatever you need. So don't even worry about it. I get you. We'll bring you back. We'll bring you back to the fold.
All right. We got about 2.5 minutes. Look at T-Bone. Another 5 gifts of membership. That's 10 tonight he's giving away.
T-Bone is the slam, dude. I love that name. That's my
Let's just all give T-Bone a tip of the cap.
T-Bone, God bless you.
Come on, Merle.
Merle, you gotta come on. There we go.
Thank you, T-Bone.
Everyone can see my bald spot now, Dave. Look.
No bald spot here.
Shut up, Dave. No one likes you.
I did get the limousine to pull over at Taco Bell, though.
Did you?
Remember, you were in there.
That's right. That's true. Yeah.
You didn't tell me you were in a limousine.
It wasn't a limo. It was
it's like a SUV, a blacked out.
It was a limo.
How are you?
Stretch.
Oh, is it airport limo? Is that what it was? Yeah.
Lies, you all want hair and Dave, your audience is a slam. I gotta say this to you. I've been on a lot of shows with a lot of live. Your audience is always the best.
They're awesome.
They are the shiz. I love these guys. That's why I love coming on the show.
Oh, there's little Jakey.
There he is.
There he is.
There's little Jakey Rice right there.
The man, the myth, the editor.
The legend.
Ghost Daddy, some call him.
Pimp Daddy, Ghost Daddy.
Ghost Daddy. I love
Ghost
it.
Daddy Pimp.
I love it.
Pimpacles, the first. I just shaved and I feel great. There it is.
Oh, yeah, there's the face.
There it is.
That's a good one.
There it is.
I'm gonna have a T-shirt made with that. And I'm just gonna send it to you.
Kidding me? I'm gonna put one up on my store.
Just put them. Do it. Hey man, if they'll buy it, sell it. Go ahead. I don't care. I don't need
I'm
money.
going to.
You should.
I have a really cool EVP story for the top of the hour if we start.
All right,
that.
let's hold on here, guys, because we're coming back. Thank you to Jake, #1, and Trucker Andrew for a couple of super chats there. Thank you. And here we go with our #2 of Spaced Out Radio. Make that second half of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Apparently, I am time traveling into the past to go back to the start of hour 2. That's okay. We got a half an hour left with our main man, Merle, and the cryptid Gee, Christian McLeod, hanging on out with us. All right. We're going to talk some paranormal with them momentarily. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here's Merle. Here's Christian hanging on out. Going to take some audience questions here momentarily, guys. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio.
Great to be back.
Thanks, Dave. I'm trying to figure out what my new name is.
Yeah, man. Where's
Yeah.
Well, let's figure that out.
I like Merlosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
This is so for people who don't know, because Merle likes to bring up things that we do on the YouTube side that our radio side can never figure out. Yeah. He always forgets. So we rename Merle every half an hour. So last half hour he was Frank Merlstein. He's
Duke of Merle.
Jack Merle Lantern, Trick Merle Treat, and now El Merla, Mistress of the Dark.
Love it.
That's good.
Dude, that's good.
That's a good one.
Strong.
Christina approves.
Yeah, that's strong. That's strong right there.
Merlin
Now our
Monroe.
radio audience knows because
Merlin Monroe.
yes. All right, Merle, you wanted to talk about some EVPs.
Yeah. People
First off, explain to our audience what an
Oh,
EVP is.
An EVP is an electronic voice phenomenon. So basically, when us ghost hunters go out and do our ghost hunting, we always roll audio on an audio recorder. And an EVP is something our naked ear cannot hear until we play back on the audio recording device. And for whatever reason, a spirit or a ghost can alter the frequency in your recordings, and that's how you hear your EVP. You can live listen, like with headphones, and oftentimes you can hear the voice come through the headphones. But other than that, you have to listen to all your audio after. And we just got a creepy one at a cemetery out here in British Columbia. It's an old pioneer, a Danish pioneer cemetery at a place called Wannick. And we were doing some, just had the audio recorder going. We had some of our ghosty gear going on some of the tombstones. This was at night. And one of our EMF detectors, electromagnetic frequency detectors, they say that ghosts can mimic or they can alter the EMF to let you know that they're there. and makes our devices go different colors. So it's kind of like you're communicating with a ghost. And one of the ladies that was with me was like, hey, the light just went off. And then all of a sudden, in our audio recorder, because I listened to the playback, we heard a lady humming, sounded like a song maybe, from one side of us and walking all the way kind of around us. So you could hear it in the headphones or on the speaker going from one side to the other and then just fade away. And that's the best type of creepy, scary evidence you get, because you can't hear that until you're home. So there's all that sort of paranormal activity happening around you, which is another unsettling thing if you think about it. Because when you're there, when you're like, oh, this was a boring night, nothing happened. When you go back and listen to your evidence, oftentimes you will get a voice to your questions. And that's one thing I encourage with investigators. They love investigating. They love bringing all the toys, bringing all the audio, video. Go through your stuff, because that's where you find your gold. And it's just really neat to hear that sort of stuff. And again, it's creepy as heck. Like, you've experienced them, Dave, and I'm sure Christian, you have as well. But yeah, I just want to tell that story because it's one of the best EVPs I've gotten in a long time. I wish I could. It's on my Instagram if you want to hear it. So
I think for these EVPs, I mean, if you want to convince somebody that the paranormal is real, EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, are definitely one of the great ways to do it. I mean, even like up at Flight 21, when Tim and I started investigating there, where you hear Tim fumbling and bumbling with the camera, and you hear this young boy go, uh-oh, and then you could tell he turns to his buddies and says something mumbling, and then turns his head back and laughs, ha 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 ha, in a kid's way. I mean, you're in the middle of the forest. There's nobody around you for about 20 miles, and you're getting a child's voice commenting in real time about Tim fumbling with the camera.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't get any more real than that, does it?
No. And like when I go do like conventions or markets, not this past one, but sometimes I'll bring my laptop. And when people who don't know what we do from anything come up and you show them EVPs, it's kind of interesting to watch their facial expressions change. And then you'll take a non-believer into somebody that at least questions it now instead of absolutely writes it off. And I find that as a big win, especially with our community, when you can reach people like that with ghostly voices.
What do you think of EVPs? What's your best EVP, Christian?
I believe it or not, the best EVP we had was during a cryptid investigation, and we call this place the Haunted Force. It's in McDowell County, North Carolina, and McDowell County is kind of they consider themselves the Bigfoot hub of North Carolina. There's just so many sightings, and it's a very active place. But when we do any investigations, I always leave a micro recorder in my pocket, in my vest. And the second week, I've got that. It's that digital one that goes on for 16 hours because I got the chip in there. So I just hit record. And we had been having some interesting phenomena. We saw we had time loss, and my buddy Tiny and I were both looking up at a plane, and you've got the chemtrails and you can see the plane flying. It was almost like the first thing that we noticed, it was like the plane just stopped moving and almost started going in reverse. And it was, it's high up there. And we noticed that, and that was kind of weird. And then we started having some mechanical issues with some of the equipment. The natural field meter was going off. And that only goes off like when it picks up a strong signal. And it just started going off. And I even turned it off, and even when it was turned off, it'd click on. So I ended up having to take the battery out of it. But what I'd noticed was I thought I was hearing like whispers and stuff in my ear, and I thought it might be the wind. But the next day when I got back home and I downloaded the audio files into the computer, I was looking at the wave screen, and you know how it's just like boom, 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 boom. and I fast forwarded there, and you heard something specifically say, "Get out of my territory," and you just heard it, and it was like, "Get out of my territory," and it was like, "Get out of my home," and then there was another one that said like, "Go away, we don't want you here," and it was all like timed up with all these things happening. So EVPs, I love them. I'm a firm believer in them. Even when I go out and we do cryptid investigations, I bring everything's taped, audio, and then of course we have the GoPros, and then the other thing I do is I bring a radar. I bring a EMF field meter, of course, and a radiation detector. And you'd be surprised how many times something pops up, a couple, 2, 3, 4 ads out in the middle of nowhere, and it's just you can't explain that.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here. And Joe is asking, Merle, when incarnation are you going to release the video from Flight 21 with Samantha and Captain Dave?
Ooh. In a while. We have the footage. I have the footage. I'm working on 2 other. I have like 4 videos that I'm trying to cut. Plus, Jake is trying to cut 2 as well. So I'm getting there. I've trimmed it down a little bit. We have a lot of stuff to go through. But yes, it'll be great.
T-Bone is asking, Merle, what are your Halloween movie picks?
Oh, I like the Conjuring series. I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Have you seen the new one?
I have. It was okay.
I haven't seen it.
It was okay. I'm a big found footage guy too. I like Hell House. Some people hate it, but I love it.
That's good. I like that one too.
Yeah. Those would be my movie picks.
You know what? Can I add one? I know it's gonna sound cheesy. Silver Bullet and Fright Night, the original Fright Night.
I like those. If you want to go classic, I sometimes they come back.
I love that werewolf looks just like a teddy bear.
Yep.
Can't go wrong with Dog Soldiers.
I just watch old home videos of my ex-mother-in-law. That scares me enough right there.
Ooh.
That's a demon right there.
Yeah.
All right. This one for you, Christian.
They just mentioned a thing. That one
What?
scared
Jeepers
me.
Creepers too.
Okay, we got a radio show, guys. Joe is asking, is it possible that the police had reports about this terrifying woman before and knew all about her? The one who was throwing around people.
There was an incident the night before at a local bar less than 2 miles away, and pretty much the same thing happened. There was like 4 or 5 people that actually got hospitalized for broken ribs, broken wrist, and I think she bit someone else in the face too.
Weird.
Yeah, and you never hear anything about it. That was the thing.
Jaquetta is saying, I sold a house and the new owners told one of my old neighbors that they felt I was haunting the house. Is this possible?
I don't think so. I think that your energy could be imprinted there. I think if you had any traumatic events, joyful events, like happy, sad, angry, I think that energy can be imprinted to your old house for sure.
Yeah, I'm with Merle on that one. I think you can have a traumatic event, a happy event. Maybe you had 4 or 5 Christmases in a row, everything was great, and that energy is just kind of impacted there, and it shows up every once in a while. But I don't think you can be. I don't see anyone haunting any place alive. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go next to Mike. For both of you, so many places claim to have the portal to hell, Bobby Mackey's, etc. In your opinion, there I could read, opinion, where is or would be the real portal to hell?
I'm not sure. I don't know if there's a portal to hell per se. I think that there's more charged areas than not for paranormal activity based on events, based on things that have happened there, people that have lived there, died there, been murdered there, or war. But I don't think there's an actual demonic portal pit to hell. Though when I saw Bobby Mackey's exhibit in the Zach Bagan Haunted Museum, it was kind of creepy because he has a bunch of the floor from there. He has the wall. Like, it looks like you're in a smaller version of Bobby Mackey's.
Yeah, I saw that myself. I'm with you on that. But I'd have to disagree. I think there's definitely portals to hell. I can explain that where my ex-mother-in-law lives. That's definitely one of them. I'll be more happy to give addresses on that later. But I think where places have great evil energy, I think that would be portal. Like, where black masses have been done, satanic worship, things of that nature, murders of innocents, rituals. I think like wherever places like that have been done over centuries, I think that would probably be the closest thing to a portal to hell. But I'm with you. I don't think you just open a door and, oh, look, there's hell. So it's got to be a place where there's a lot of history and a lot of violence, a lot of death, and a lot of misery and a lot of evil.
Let's move on to another question. Let's go to Ashley. Christian, did you already explain how you were thrown out a window? I think that's what I heard you mention in terms of scariest experiences.
Yeah, that entity, like I said, it said something. It basically said something about my father. It used his real name, his full name, and then it pointed at me. And the second it pointed at me, I got thrown through a second-story window. That was during an exorcism, of course. Yeah.
Seeing somebody possessed is an incredibly freaky sight.
Terrifying. It's the most horrifying thing you'll ever see because you don't think it's real till you see it.
Yes, defenestrated. Good vocabulary.
Get Christina come a little bit closer to the microphone.
I'm sorry. I just saw in the comments somebody said it was defenestrated. It's very good vocabulary.
Oh, yeah, that is good vocabulary. Defenestrated.
Yeah, I'm going to use that word tomorrow.
Yeah, you don't get to use that word very often. And defenestrated, great word.
I'm going to sound smart tomorrow.
Love it.
Someone defenestrated my bagel.
Merle, where did you see somebody possessed?
I don't really think I've seen anyone possessed. I've seen people get cranky with energy, but no, Dave, I don't think I've officially seen somebody get possessed that I can remember off the top of my head.
I've seen it once. That was at the Heritage site, where a lady had a spirit sneak into her body, watching her kind of, watching her hands, especially because her hands were like crinkling up and she was like, oh, like this, and her voice had changed, her face had changed, and it was up to me to get it out of her. And I literally, it was one of the scariest times I've ever dealt with because I'd never seen it before. And I was like, okay, we got everybody out of the building from the top floor, including her children who were in there. And she was dragging me across the floor, dude. I had a hold of her hands and she was dragging me across the floor. And she kept on saying, I need a drink. Where's my drink? But she was very much more vulgar on that. So how I got the spirit out of her is I had to take him into me in order to get him out of her.
Don't ever do that, Dave. You
have
never
to
do that. You're not
have to. 100% have to. It's my path.
No, you don't. Don't ever do that. That's the most dangerous thing you can do.
We will agree to disagree on that because there are different ways on doing things. But I had to get it out, got her out, and then I had to cleanse myself in order to do that, which took about half an hour, and we were good.
Dave, now that I think about it, I think I may. This is another work story. I was dealing with some people, and there was an old lady. She looked like your typical, like an old one you'd see on TV, like a gypsy. She was wearing like a cloak. She had long, like stringy hair, and she hated me. And I didn't do anything to her, I guess my presence. But she was speaking in some language to me, and she did some hand gesture. She threw something at my feet, then spat at me. It Luckily, it didn't hit me. But then she did something else with her hand and then collapsed. And then kept looking at, like, didn't lose eye contact with me the whole time. And then I felt kind of creeped out off after that. That was in my head for a couple days. But like, I don't. I think she's speaking some sort of Slavic language. But I don't think nothing happened to me. But yeah, she was. It was creepy. Now that you make me think about if I've seen possessed people, maybe that
wasn't cool.
Yeah,
wasn't cool. 4 minutes to go. Christian, what's your favorite Halloween story?
All right, it's not really scary, but it's kind of funny. A couple of years ago, we had a blood moon on Halloween, and we were doing this thing with the local news crew. They wanted to do something about paranormal activity in the city, so we went to a place called Helen's Bridge, and Helen's Bridge is a very active place. A lot of strange stuff happens there, and we were up there with the film crew for the local television station, and I love that picture. I was with the camera guy, and we were walking up to Helen's Bridge, and we heard voices. And I said to the camera guy, "Turn the light off. What's that? Let's see what's going on here." And we kept walking up, and one of the voices we heard was yelling at another person, and he said, "You drew the pentagram wrong. You're going to screw this all up, and no one's going to get their powers." So we're like, what are they talking about? So we kept walking, and then all of a sudden the camera guy goes, "Watch this," and he flicks the lights. So there's like these four scrubs, these teenagers. One of them looked like they hadn't showered in months, just dorky looking kids, greasy, and they all have hoodies on, except one guy. They all have black hoodies, except one guy had like a blue hoodie. I don't think you got the memo. And they were trying to do a satanic mass to get some kind of powers, but they drew the pentagram wrong. And they were arguing about it when we got up there. And then one of the kids turns around, he sees the camera guy, and he goes, "I can't let my mom see me like this on TV." And he runs away, and then they all ran away. So I just thought that was hilarious because it was a blood moon on a Halloween, and they were trying to get satanic powers.
Well, that's always nice.
They done screwed up.
You got to see these guys. Yeah.
Pentacle.
You know.
Okay.
2 minutes to go here, Merle. Your favorite Halloween story?
This would have been a couple years ago, doing a fundraiser and for a local historical home, and just having. I can remember it so clearly that this couple came in, this big tough guy, right? He's like, "This is all crap. This is all dumb. I don't know why you do this. Don't you have better things to do?" I'm like, and then, I'm just being me. I'm like, no, I don't. This is life, right? Paranormal time. And started them at one of the stations, and it was during the Estes method. So for our viewers, it's the Estes method. You've heard me talk about it before. It's sensory deprivation with a spirit box, scanning the airwaves for words. And I guess that this spirit box said something personal to him from like a parent, like a dead relative, and he started getting mad at me, thinking that I faked it, and I did that to him intentionally. Like, he wanted to search my pockets to see if I had a button to make the spirit box say whatever word it was. I think it was just a name or something that was familiar to him. And I didn't. We had I was recording, so we had the video footage, and I played it back for him, and you can just see the fear in his face, like, big tough guy, just buckle, and then became a believer. I like making people a believer, especially if they make fun or take a run at what we do.
Merle, where can people find the Paranormal Road Trippers?
They can find the Paranormal Road Trippers on Instagram at the Paranormal Road Trippers, on YouTube at the Paranormal Road Trippers, and the paranormalroadtrippers.com.
And where can people find Cryptid Gee?
You can find me at cryptidgee.com or American Cryptid Paranormal Society.com, or you can call us at 1-800-329-4851. And that phone's on all the time. And Dave, I can't thank you enough. I love doing this show. Love it.
Love doing your show too. It's amazing. Well, I guess my show with
Yeah.
you on it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
We bring one for ratings.
Figure that out. You know, it's always good. And I appreciate you guys coming on in. Coming up next in hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio, Swamp Dweller will kick things off. The lovely Katie Page will be here with the encounters, Dave 101 night, and the weird news of the week. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Hey, Dave, this is for you.
I love the blue hat.
Yep.
I love the blue hat.
There you go.
There it is.
Ta-da.
Uh-huh. That's how I met her.
Yep.
Sexy as ever, except her hair was blonde back then.
Yep.
Damn right.
I keep
All right,
playing with
guys.
it. I'm not sure if I like it yet.
Thank you for a great show, guys. You're amazing.
No problem. Hey, Dave, you mind if you be the go-between and we'll switch contact information?
Yeah.
Because
Cool.
I'd love to talk to him. Like I said, I mean what I said. I'd love to have. We should discuss doing something with Smoky Mountain.
I'll text you
That'd be
Merle's
cool.
phone number.
Cool.
If you want to come stay, we got an extra bedroom.
Yeah, you got a place to stay.
Cool.
Hey,
All right,
Dave,
gentlemen.
thanks again, brother. God bless. Big
Thank you.
love. See you guys later.
See you, Merle.
Ciao.
Later. I love those guys. We'll be right back. All right. Let's bring in the lovely and talented Katie Page. There she is. Look how beautiful she is. Always stunning. Always just a model of perfection. Right there. How you doing, Katie?
I'm well. How are you, Dave?
I am good. I am good. How are you?
Fantastic show.
Thank you. I do my best. When you have good people, you can pretty much just make it happen.
That's right. And no ugly swag.
Oh, I have to change a bunch of my swag here soon. I got apparently copywritten.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so I have to change a bunch of my swag.
Well, the nerve.
I know. It's terrible.
It's awful.
Absolutely terrible.
It's going to be even better now.
Well, yeah. They want me to pay for more programming and can't. Hold on right there, Katie. Hold on. Here comes the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We got a great third hour planned out. Swamp Dweller kick things off. That Katie Page with the encounters. But first, we want to say hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us tonight, Clam? Well, it is anoptromancy. Anoptromancy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. I think I finally have an answer for something plaguing me almost every night. Yet, I wish I didn't. I'm lying in bed typing this on my phone because I'm so freaking scared right now. I can't even move. I've lived in this house with my husband and daughter for 2 years. Not long after moving here, I started experiencing these weird, shaking sensations, occasionally at night while lying in bed. It feels exactly like a small earthquake. And honestly, for a long time, I just wrote them off as that because I live in Northern California, and there are fault lines everywhere. I could very well have been feeling small tremors. But they're so specific. I'd lay in bed with this disorienting, shaking feeling, and I would jolt my husband awake, and he'd swear he felt nothing. This makes sense. For whatever reason, they're suddenly gone as soon as someone other than me is awake to handle it. Come to think of it, they happen way more often when he's away at work, and it's just me in bed. I've looked up everything. Seismic activity, medical conditions that could cause pseudo-earthquake sensations. Hell, I've even wondered if I'm just hallucinating it. I've even looked into whether anything supernatural could be causing it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing matches what I'm feeling. Nothing explains it. Honestly, it hasn't even been that alarming to me anymore. And it's been more of an annoyance than anything. The one thing I should have thought to do was look under the bed. And that brings us to now. As I lay down in my bed alone one morning, my husband was away on a trip. I'm holding so still I'm barely breathing because the tremors started. I looked over the side of the bed on a whim, and suddenly the tremor stopped. But not before I saw in the dim light coming through the window something I wish I could not see. Something I wish I could just wipe away from my memory. A hand. Abnormally long. Bony fingers and dirty jagged nails released their hold on the mattress and quickly drew back under the bed. As it did, I promptly rolled back away from the edge, grabbed my phone, and hid under the blankets like a freaking idiot. I could hardly believe what I had just seen. It had to be my imagination, right? It couldn't possibly have... There's no way. But I know I saw a hand. Why? Why did I decide to look down there? I could have lived my entire life not knowing this. And what am I supposed to do now? Call the cops? Whatever is down there will get me way faster than anyone can get here. I'm honestly terrified. I don't really know what to do, so I wanted to send this story in. Of course, I have reported this to the authorities, and every time we look under the bed, we don't see anything. I'm terrified.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another creepy story. If you want more just like that, head on over to his YouTube channel, Swamp Dweller. Hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories just like that for you to tune in each and every night. Now, great part of this show. Let's bring in Katie. I love that intro. Love that intro. How are you, my friend?
I'm well. It's great.
Sorry I missed you last week due to the fact
How
that I
was
was at the concert.
the concert? How was it?
It was amazing.
Nice.
Absolutely amazing. And it was really nice to be able to spend some time with my kids rocking out. I think every parent should do that. If you get an opportunity to go rock out with your kids at a rock concert, do it. It's so much fun.
Absolutely.
What do you
Well,
got
as
for us
you
tonight?
know, as you know, this is kind of this journey through the alphabet. And for tonight, we're doing the state of Arizona, which is, one of the hot states here in America. We get a lot of sightings out of Arizona. It's really famously known for the Travis Walton case in 1975. And of course, let's not forget the Phoenix Lights case of 1997. But I'm looking for these obscure cases. And as fate would have it, I've been doing some work. Rocky Mountain Ranch Research has been doing some work with Ryan Wood. And so I want to encourage all your listeners to check out Ryan Wood's UFO decks. And you can go to that website, ufodecks.com, and type in any question you have regarding UFOs. And you will get, a very specific data set back. He has thousands of archives of just UFO books and magazines and, symposium journals and things like this. So I searched the UFO decks for some obscure cases in Arizona, and then we're also doing Alberta, Canada tonight. So without further ado, I'm just going to kind of hit some of these. And what I love about these cases, Sedona, Arizona with the Bradshaw Ranch is high strangest location. So the first few cases here are kind of right around that general area of the Bradshaw Ranch. This first case is only 3.5 miles, called Loy Butte or Red Canyon. And this case really interested me. I'm always making those connections to Rocky Mountain Ranch too here in Colorado. But this one is interesting. This happened in the late 80s, early 90s. Again, it's only 3.5 miles away from Bradshaw Ranch, but this is a multi-witness kind of phenomenon that was happening. Multiple independent witnesses were encountering like a window or a portal suspended in midair. And what's really, really creepy about this, several 9-foot tall Bigfoot type creatures were observed guarding this portal. Now, I don't know about you, Dave, but I don't often hear of even 2 or 3 or 4 Sasquatch together, but these are 9, and they seem to be guarding this portal suspended in midair. And multiple witnesses are describing seeing this over years in that area. So almost all of them describe almost an identical experience of these Sasquatch guarding this portal, which makes me wonder, what is this portal being used for? Orbs, UFOs, the Sasquatch coming in and out. Also, in around the same time in the 1980s, also in Lloyd Butte, Sedona, a man named Stan is living in his converted school bus, and he reports a sighting of a large red and white UFO one night on a starless night. This red bubble-like detached from the bottom of the craft, circled at very close distance to this guy, as if observing and inspecting him. And then case number 3 in Long Canyon, which also is right in that general area, a woman hiking in Long Canyon reports a large manzanita bush. And I'm thinking that's like a Chico bush, but it's, like a swamp dweller story there. It was shaking violently, just the shaking bush, probably rocking out to Katie's intro song or something. And despite there was no wind, no animals nearby, and she couldn't figure out why this bush was just shaking like kind of crazy. So that's kind of a funny one. Also then in Boynton Canyon, Sedona, very close to the same area, a man camping heard a high-pitched sound and saw footsteps on 2 legs outside his tent. So I would think like human, but then he saw, and he comes face to face with an entity with enormous eyes and a reptilian skin. This incident was corroborated by others who experienced similar events in the area, including a couple who heard a strange vibrating sound that kept them awake all night. So you don't want to camp in this area. And then, this is a good one, 1947. So, Roswell time in the Superstition Mountains. I love the Superstition Mountains. There was a disc crash, and I had not heard of this before, so I don't know why. But in 1947, a disc-shaped craft with a dome crashed into the Superstition Mountains. The area was cordoned off by the military, and multiple witnesses reported seeing the craft. According to Dottie Burrows' letter and Leonard Stringfield notes, a live alien body was recovered and survived for 18 months at Pueblo Army Depot in Colorado. So, didn't know about that one. Also, in 1953, I think many of us will have heard about the Kingman UFO crash. And they also had reports of, multiple humanoid bodies, but multiple sources, including a former Army warrant officer and a high-ranking defense official, reported that a UFO crashed near Kingman in 1953. 5 crates containing 2 to 4 humanoid bodies, about 4 feet tall, with large heads, brown skin, and tight-fitting suits, were transported to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. The witnesses described the beings as having large dark eyes, small mouths, and indistinct noses. The event was shrouded in secrecy, with witnesses later becoming silent. And let's see, 2 more here for the Sedona, and then we'll have some Dave Scott comments and move on to the really interesting Alberta cases. Also in Sedona, this is called the Ant Hill Underground Base and Orbs. So this was in the night. You've heard of this one?
Yeah.
The Ant Hill, 1980s, 1990s. A secret mountain in Sedona. All these places, like even with Snippy, we have Mount Blanca, right? All these secret mountains. But residents near Boynton and Secret Canyon reported black helicopter activity, sightings of small orbs, and rumors of a secret government installation known as the Ant Hill. One investigator was stopped by a voice over a loudspeaker, which reminds me of the ranch too, and a laser targeting a light while hiking into Secret Canyon at night. Orbs were photographed near the facility, and some witnesses reported missing time and encounters with military personnel. I'm wondering what they have there underground. Ant people. Okay, and last but not least.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what I heard, is that there was ant people living underground there.
Yeah. I it's like the Great Sand Dunes. They don't know how the Great Sand Dunes got there. I'm thinking like it's like an ant hill. Like there's ant people living under there too. Convinced of it. Okay, so in between Sedona and Flagstaff, so this is called the Cottonwood Missing Time and the 5 Red Lights. This was in 1989. There was unusual buzzing sound. So there's that buzzing sound again. There was a woman, and she hears this buzzing sound near her house after turning off all of her appliances, which is funny. Is that my blender? Anyway, so she turns off her appliances. The sound persisted. Looking outside, she saw 5 sets of stationary red lights hovering over her house. She subsequently experienced about an hour of missing time with no memory of what occurred during that interval. So probably an abduction.
That's creepy.
So those are my not so well-known Arizona cases. And interestingly enough, most of them focus around the mysterious Sedona high energy vortex area, as we all know.
It's weird how when you brought up Kingman, I think there's 2 things that are very strange about Kingman. Number one, how we never seem to talk or give credit to the Kingman crash.
Right.
Okay. Number one. But number 2, how it always seems to tie back to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Don't they all seem to do that? I'm like, is that a ruse? I mean, it's like Area 51. I mean, we're all on to you now. So I have to imagine they would move them to somewhere else we don't even know about at all. Like, nobody knew about Area 51 for decades, right? Nobody admitted it was there. So there has to be a new location like that. I know there's certain locations that are rumored,
Well, but what's funny is when you look at up until this past election, Mike Turner, the guy who is, a senator and part of the Senate Intelligence Committee, his constituents were at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And yet he was the guy who was always in the Gang of 8 killing the UAP Disclosure Act. It was Mike Turner from the person who represents the people at Wright-Patterson.
Just shooting it down.
It always seems to turn into a Wright-Patterson thing. It's so weird.
Yeah.
7 minutes to go. Let's get to Alberta.
Okay, we have 7 minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll try and get through as many of these as we can. I like this first one a lot, though. This was called the Enola family. Have you heard of this? In Abe, Alberta, the Enola family encounter from July 16th, 1969. Have you heard of this one, Dave?
No, fill me in.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fascinating. Again, this is courtesy of UFO Decks. On July 16th, 1969, at approximately 3:30 in the afternoon, a 10-year-old Sylvia Enola was at her family's farmhouse. When she heard a noise outside, running to the porch, she saw a gray top hat-shaped object, which is also interesting to me because of the Rocky Mountain Ranch have these gray tops as well. Shaped object with rounded edges and bright lights on the bottom, hovering about 3 feet above a well. That reminds me of something. Just 10 feet from her. A bright silver-like light shone from the bottom, blinding her for a half an hour. That's a long time. After the object departed, she stumbled inside to tell her mother. Her father, Mr. Edward Enola, was working outside and heard odd noises but thought nothing of it. Upon hearing his daughter's story, he investigated and found trees burned and leaves dried up, suggesting the object had taken off over the trees. 2 days later, he discovered shredded metal and trees a quarter of a mile from the house. Her son developed a rash after handling the metal. The Edmonton UFO Society analyzed the metal and found it to be cast aluminum, similar to metal found in trees on nearby farms. The family's German Shepherd was found hiding and whimpering in a field, refusing to return home shortly after the sighting. A man died of a heart attack after driving off the road near the Enola home, leading Mr. Enola to wonder if there was a connection.
Where did this take place again?
It says in Abe, Alberta, Abee. Am I saying that right?
I think it's Abe.
Abe, Alberta.
AB is the acronym for Alberta. AB is here it is. It's a hamlet in Alberta. Whereabouts is it?
Abee. It says it's 60 miles northeast of Edmonton.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. Okay, do I have time for one more?
We have 4.5 minutes. Yes, you do.
Okay. Excuse me if I mispronounce some of these words. Langenberg, Saskatchewan, Alberta border. So this one on September 1st, 1974, farmer Edwin Furr was swathing his field when he noticed 5 dome-shaped metallic aluminum color objects spinning just above the ground. As he approached, the object rose, assuming an echelon formation, emitted thick black smoke, and flew away. Left behind were 5 swirled circles in the field, classic saucer nests. And I have to wonder if any of these circular nests that were left on the ground were 75 feet in diameter. I would love to know, because this again is a 1974 case. I love the 70s. Another one in Brooks, Alberta. Okay, this is great. A cattle mutilation wave in the 70s, 1975, same time as Rocky Mountain Ranch. So on August 10th, 1975, 2 cows and a steer were found mutilated on successive nights near Brooks, Alberta. The mutilations were part of a wave of similar incidents in Alberta and Saskatchewan during the 1970s, often linked to UFO activity. The animals were found with precise, bloodless incisions and missing organs with no tracks or signs of predators, just like here. So that's fascinating. Then in Owen, Alberta, a horse mutilation like Snippy, and cattle mutilations. April through July 1980. April 1980, Marilyn, how do you say that? Flat in Owen, Alberta, found her 3-year-old registered quarter horse, the same age as Snippy, was 3 years old, mutilated. In July, another filly was found mutilated in a pasture near Benton Station, east of Owen. These cases were part of a broader wave of animal mutilations in Alberta, often associated with strange lights and UFO sightings. So I was not aware that you guys had a rash of mutilations.
Oh yeah, I know a guy in the military here who in the last 2 years was looking into cattle mutilations about 40, 50 miles from where I live.
Okay. Are they still going on?
It's happening.
Happening right now.
Happening right now. It hasn't gone away.
Right. Okay, one last one. Edmonton, Alberta. Ricky Benyard's cemetery encounter. So kind of a ghosty story. On May 7th, 1967, a 14-year-old Ricky Benyard observed a strange beam of light over the Allendale district of Edmonton while returning home. He and his friend Glenn watched the object through binoculars. Later, Ricky followed the beam into Mount Pleasant. Hold on. My paper's folded over. Mount Pleasant Cemetery, where he hid under trees and watched a UFO hovering about 200 feet in the air, about 50 feet away. The object was described as 2 bulls joined together at their rims, emitting a whistling noise and focusing a beam of light onto the ground. And then the last one is a cryptid Sasquatch sighting. No surprise there in Alberta's foothills. Numerous reports of Sasquatch or Bigfoot encounters have been made in the foothills and forests of Alberta, particularly near the Rocky Mountains wilderness, described as large, hairy, bipedal creatures, sometimes accompanied by strange lights or UFOs. One notable case involved a group of hunters near Sunday, Alberta, who reported seeing a large hairy creature cross a logging road at dusk in the late 1970s. I wonder if they got video or photos of that one crossing the road, you know? But yeah.
Quick story. My daughter was up here about a year ago, and she introduces me to one of her friends who was working on the power lines in the Rocky Mountain area. And they decided to go climb one of the power poles, one of those giant power poles. And they looked off into the distance and they saw this giant deer rack coming down the path. And when it came over the hill, they realized that it wasn't a deer. It was a Wendigo walking towards them because it had the deer head with the human-like body. They said they climbed down the pole and got the hell out of there as quickly as possible. Katie Page, Rocky Mountain Ranch Research on YouTube. Make sure you go hit subscribe. If you're a Spaced Out Radio subscriber on YouTube, you need to go hit subscribe there. We love her. She'll talk to us next week with more stories. The Dave 101 coming up right after this.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, Katie, we are clear.
Well, good night, everybody. These
give
are
you-
all going into a little book. I'm saving all of these into a binder. Fascinating stuff.
You should. You should. I got an interesting show coming up next week with Victor Vigiani.
Oh,
We're gonna delve into Paul Hellier's UFO history.
oh, very nice. That'll be interesting.
Yeah,
I'll make sure I tune in.
yeah. So that will be fun. That will be fun. And you get to go to bed on your Rocky Mountain time.
Yes,
like-
we have had out of the blue, just a huge rainstorm coming in. So the weather's been a little nuts up here. So I always sleep good when it rains. You hear the rain on the roof, a little
Yes.
thunder, a little lightning. It's good sleeping weather. So
Mhm.
see you guys all next week.
All right, buddy.
All right. All right. Bye-bye.
Tim Mothman, didn't you meet Katie Page at our first SOR event in Vegas? Thank you tonight to Trucker Andrew ×2, Jake Nicole, and of course T-Bone with a major amount of gifts tonight for you, the audience. Thank you, T-Bone, my man. You are just wonderful. T-Bone, I'm going to give you a little tip of the cap for that right there. That's my new thing now, the old tip of the cap. So that's for you, T-Bone. Mm-hmm. She was there, Tim Mothman. Your goatee was there. Pretty sure you met her. Oh, by the way, probably within the next week, we are going to be releasing the first names of the speakers at the Caribou Con up here in 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Tickets will be going on sale. If you are in the U.S., you can drive across the border with an enhanced driver's license, or you need a passport if you're driving or flying. Remember, all prices are in Canadian dollars. The event would be September 18th through 20th. Lots of speakers, lots of events. Got some really cool ones coming. Excuse me. Like 2 minutes. Well, goatee, you'll have to meet them all again when we're back in Vegas. We will be going to Vegas, my birthday weekend. A bunch of us SOR people, May 21st to 25th. If you want to attend that as well, that'll be fun. Who doesn't like a weekend in Vegas? And even if you don't like Vegas, just come show up. Come hang out with us. Jay Trueseeker, you just wait till you see our list of speakers. It'll be good. It shall be good. It will be fun. They say it will be fun, and therefore it shall be. All right, 25 seconds. Ten seconds. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott, and we have the Dave 101 and the weird news of the week coming up here momentarily. But first, we want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. It is that time of the week, that time of the night, where I yell at each and every one of you to get off my lawn. It's a Dave 101.
It's time for Dave 101.
Open up the door, it's Dave. Dave, D-A-V-E.
Well, 'tis the season for tricks or treats. And, you know, much like at a wedding or a funeral where everybody becomes a poet, well, everybody becomes a paranormal investigator around Halloween time. Yes, people thinking they know what they're doing because they've seen Zach Bagans or Jason Hawes and his crew running around buildings trying to find ghosts in all sorts of places that are hidden around the United States and the world. The paranormal is something that you shouldn't dabble in. Yes, you can have a keen interest. Yes, you could go out and do it at any time. But if you don't know what you're doing, then it could be very dangerous. It's more than just looking for the thrill, looking for something that is going to captivate your attention. And in the meantime, you head home with a nice little hitchhiker that haunts you for the next 15, 20 years. It's the same as using a Ouija board, where if you use a Ouija board and you don't close the door, like many people do around All Hallows Eve, well, you end up getting some things happening that you really don't know. You really don't know how to handle it, and it can freak you out. Look, it doesn't happen each and every time, but there are many times when it does. So the big advice from old Davey here, if you're going to play with the paranormal this Halloween season, do yourself a favor, put down the pumpkin spice latte and close the door. Yes, close the door. Look, if you can find somebody who's doing ghost tours or paranormal investigations and you want to tag along, see if they'll take you. See if you could go along. Cure your interest in this story because, yes, this is something everybody could do. But realistically, you have to know the dangers of what's going on. Look, I don't want to be that mother hen that says you can't do this or you shouldn't do this because it's really up to you. I have zero control if you want to do it or not. But the main thing is know what you are getting into. Know the fact that we don't know what a ghost is. Know the fact that we don't know what a spirit is. Know the fact that if a ghost asks you to leave, just leave, right? And the reason why I say don't do it like I did right off at the bat is because I want you to be careful, because it's more than just an adrenaline rush that you were looking for. There is some things going on that we can't even explain, even those of us who have some sort of experience with this. Don't try and send ghosts to the light because you don't know what the light might be, or maybe they just don't want to go. It's not your place. Allow them to do it because they've crossed over to the other side, which means, as far as we know, the light is already there. They've just chosen not to step into it. It's not up to you whether or not they want to go to the light or not. And probably the biggest piece of advice we could give you is whether you're walking into a cemetery or an abandoned hotel or some friend's house that claims to have ghostly activity, show some respect for the area. Do that. Do yourself a favor and show the respect. Too many times we get these radicals in the paranormal who ruin it for everybody because they're going to cleanse the place. They are going to take it into their own hands to get rid of the spirits, send them off to wherever they need to go. And in the meantime, they've ruined something really cool. It happens all the time. It's happened here. It's happened where all sorts of museums are, where people think they are the be all and end all of the paranormal and supernatural. And by gun it, you're not going to question anything that they do. This is an interesting story and subject to research. If you have an interest in life after death or trying to solve the near-death riddle or the after-death riddle, this is something you may want to explore. But don't just hop in with 2 feet. Do yourself a favor. Learn from the process, because there are a lot of do's and don'ts within the paranormal community. There really are. Okay? Don't be the people who go and try and contact somebody famous who just died. Don't be that person. Try to be the person who is going to be gentle with the ghost, as if you would talk to your grandmother or your grandfather. Why? Because we don't know what these things are. We don't know if we are looking and chatting with somebody in a different dimension that is living at the same timeline as you. We don't know if they're good or bad. We don't know if the ghost knows its power. You just don't know. So it's better to use kids' gloves with these type of entities than rather go in blazing like you see on television. Get over here now and make sure you bring me a sandwich. Make sure you're got your clothes on, so that way I don't need to see your naked ghostly butt walking around. You know, I mean, you don't have to try and play the tough guy in these situations. And the other thing that I would recommend for anybody who wants to get into potential ghost hunting, allow the experience to happen. If it happens, wonderful. Accept it for what it is. Don't try to be the big old skeptic out there who's going to try and ruin the fun for everybody else. Because likely it's not what you think it is. It probably is what you think it isn't. And just enjoy the fact that that's why you are there. You're not going to make it on TV. Yes, you may make it on YouTube. Some people do, some people don't. But realistically, it's not your call. Just run with it and go with the flow and enjoy the night of doing something that you don't normally do. It's a lot more fun that way, and the people you are surrounded with will have a lot more fun as well. So that is always something to take note of. And once again, as Christian said earlier on in the show, there are no experts in this field. We have people who are very knowledgeable. We have people who think what's going on, but there is really no science being taught in this. There's no experimentation going on. All right. Nobody's conducting anything that's going to break the mold and prove that there is life after death. Most of these people are thrill seekers, just like you want to be. So on that note, go have fun with it if it's something you really want to do. And also, if you are a first timer, you want to, get rid of your virgin paranormal What you got to do is try and find somebody with a little bit more experience, that they know what they are doing. They know what questions to ask instead of, when did you die? How did you die? What was it like dying? Because the spirits may not know that they are dead. Imagine that. They may not know. So go with somebody experienced who actually knows how to treat the spirits, knows how to communicate with them, and enjoy the night ahead. Remember, it doesn't even need to be the night. It could be the daytime. It really is up to you. All you got to do is go for it. Have some fun. Relax and enjoy. That's your Dave 101.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the latest bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News.
Loud noises! I am good at things, fighting and reading the news.
It's time once again for Spaced Out Radio's Weird News of the Week.
All right, we're going to start off with this one. I couldn't wait to get this one in, so I actually cut the Dave 101 short there for a minute. We're going to start with this one. You know, I hate seeing people being taken advantage of, especially when you're playing with somebody's feelings. And that's exactly what happened to this 80-year-old woman in Japan. You see, she fell in love online. She sent money to an online fraudster who told her he was an astronaut stranded on a spaceship and needed the cash to buy oxygen. Yes, I read that correctly. The pair first met on social media in July in what police described as a romance scam. The scammer told the victim, who lives in Japan's northern Hokkaido island, that he was an astronaut and that he continued to develop their online relationship. The fraudster eventually told her he was stuck in space on a spaceship right now, and he was under attack and in need of oxygen. Police in Hokkaido said the victim, who lives alone, was then persuaded to transfer around 1 million yen, or about $5,500 American. Officers believe the exchange was part of a romance scam when the fraudsters take advantage of people who are seeking love. They warn people that they should be suspicious if anyone asks for money from someone they just met online. Last October, Sky News actually went undercover in the scam center in Cambodia and reported how an industry of fraud factories has really spread across Southeast Asia. Thousands of workers are taught to steal the hearts and money of millions of victims worldwide and try to make individuals fall for their schemes, which range from fake romances to online gambling. Another ex-romance scammer also says the tricks of the trades is to make the victims fall in love with you and to make them part with thousands and thousands of dollars. Who does that? I mean, I know she's 80 years old and I feel bad that she got scammed. All she's doing is looking for love and looking for a partner to share however much time she has left. And hopefully it's a long time, because 80 really isn't that old anymore. Remember when we were kids, 80 seemed ancient and the people looked ancient? You'd get your wrinkled up grandfather or grandmother, or no, it was usually an aunt or uncle, a great aunt or great uncle. Oh, Davy, come on over and give old Auntie Mary a kiss. And then her mustache would like rub up on you and you didn't like that. Yeah, that's what I pictured it. But 80-year-old people now are starting to look much younger. They really are. I even look at my dad. He's 76 and he still looks like a young man. He does. I don't know what the hell happened to me because I look old as anything. But what I'm saying is, even at 80 years old, you've lived through the space race. You know that an astronaut is not going to be under attack in space, and have to buy oxygen from a person they met online. Like, what do they do on these space ships? Do they put a vending machine out there? Can you Venmo me some money so I can throw in a couple bucks into the vending machine in order to get some oxygen? I mean, maybe. I'm just thinking, but I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. A lot of people, as they get older, and I notice it now in my 50s where I'm starting to forget things. So maybe she wasn't paying attention, but I look at my dad at 76, he's a widower and he wants to, have somebody to hang out with, to talk with, travel with. And I think that's cool. And I could see where she probably fell for that. And a lot of older people do. But who knows? That story is wild. Absolutely wild. In space, stranded, in need of oxygen. Like if you push number 45 and the wheel starts spinning, what does it drop? Right? Long stigmatized for bringing bad luck for links with the occult, black cats have found salvation in a Spanish town that has temporarily banned their adoption to ward off potentially sinister Halloween rituals. Any adoption or fostering request for the felines will be denied from October 1st to November 10th to prevent possible risk derived from the superstitions, rituals, and irresponsible uses. The Animal Welfare Service in Terrassa, a town north of Barcelona, announced earlier this month. The decision was taken due to the arrival of the Halloween period and following the prudence criteria applied by the various animal protection entities, added authorities in the town in the northeastern region of Catalonia. Local newspaper Diari de Terrassa quoted animal welfare counselor Noel Duke as saying last week the adoption request for black cats always increase at Halloween time for ritual purposes or as decoration because they're so cool. Yet the town could not look the other way when faced with a grim topic, said Duke, who literally sits next to a ginger cat in his Facebook profile page. Animal welfare groups warn cats can be hurt, killed, or used as props during Halloween rituals. Yeah, that's such a horrible thing that people do that. I'm not a cat guy. I have 2 cats in my home. Neither of them really care if I'm dead or alive. Okay. But I'm an animal lover. You just don't do that to cats. You don't do it to any animal. Like, look at all this poaching that's still going on in the world for elephant and rhino tusks. Like, really? It's 2025 and we're still playing around with this. That's not fun. Leave the cats alone. I actually agree with this. This is a good law. It's not the first time I've heard this. I know many areas in British Columbia where I am do this, especially around the SPCA. Don't get a black cat at this time of year. It's like at Christmas time. Don't get the puppy. Don't get the puppy or the cat because it's an emotional purpose or purchase, pardon me, and you're looking for those happy tears at Christmas, but you forget that you're making a lifelong commitment to that animal. And many people forget that. All right, let's move on here. A lifelong Los Angeles Lakers fan is suing NBA All-Star LeBron James after he believed the basketball legend's announcement teaser was for retirement. On Monday, LeBron teased an announcement that many people believe would be a retirement announcement. Instead, it was an advertisement for Hennessy whiskey. The post mimicked his 2010 TV special where he announced he was leaving Cleveland and heading to the Miami Heat, something Cleveland Cavaliers fans can probably recall. Andrew Garcia saw the tease and spent hundreds of dollars on tickets to watch James play against the Cavs on March 31st, 2026, thinking it would be one of the superstar basketball players' last games. When Garcia learned it wasn't retirement news, but rather an ad, he sued LeBron, claiming he was deceived out of those hundreds of dollars spent. I'm not requesting any sort of emotional distress or anything like that. I feel like it's very reasonable. I'm only asking for what I thought, for what I paid for. And I'm not asking for any sort of inconvenience or anything like that. So I'm not trying to strike it rich here, he says. Garcia says he wants James to pay him back the money he spent on tickets, suing for $865.66 for the 2 tickets he bought. No, man. Why don't you just go to the game and enjoy it? Why does everything have to be offensive and you got to sue over it? I'm not a basketball fan, and I'm definitely not a LeBron James fan. But King James did nothing wrong. Nothing. He put out an advertisement. And now we're going to blow it out of proportion with a lawsuit, wasting a judge's time when real criminals and real cases need to be heard, wasting the NBA's time. I think this guy maybe just wants like 15 seconds of fame, because it's definitely not going to be 15 minutes of fame. My goodness, I'm sounding like Charlotte Dobre right now. Holy cow. If you watch her videos, she's hilarious. But would you sue for that? Would you literally sue your favorite player just because you misinterpreted an ad? That doesn't sound like LeBron's fault. This sounds like one case that will get thrown out. Why not just bite the bullet, enjoy the game, take your best friend, take your best kid, take your best lover, whoever it is, okay? Go enjoy the game. But if it's your mistress, don't go on the kiss cam. That never works out very well, right? We've seen that before. Man. I couldn't do it. I couldn't sue an athlete or waste a court's time like that. I just couldn't. Well, it's that time of the night where we start to wrap this show up. And what a great show it was indeed, having Big Bad Merle here, having Christian McLeod here, and of course, Katie Page with the Encounters. Great show. She comes on every week at this time. Yeah, Rocky Mountain Ranch Research is her YouTube channel. We suggest you go and hit subscribe there as we say goodnight to all of you. And hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. Close that off until tomorrow. Open this one up right now. There we go. Tomorrow night on the show, Matt Laszlo from Askapol will join us. We're going to get into the latest and greatest. Excuse me. Latest and greatest on the UFO story. I'm really tired tonight, so I'm going to cut this off early. But I really thank all of you for coming on in tonight. We're going to have a great show tomorrow. Thank you to Trucker Andrew ×2. T-Bone, my man, for a plethora, an extra plethora here of memberships gifted to our great audience. So thank you, T-Bone, for being a hero to many. And, of course, Jake and Nicole for the super chats. Thank you for the love tonight. Don't forget to hit subscribe, share. I can't even talk. Ring that bell and do us a favor. Tell a friend. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. See you guys, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.